From sauce to dust to nuggets, Diablo dusted crispy chicken nuggets. No, they don't come in mild. That would make like 0 sense with the name. New Diablo dusted crispy chicken nuggets. Only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time and while supplies last.
Welcome back to Crime Besties. After a week's break, here we are. Another episode ready and raring to go.
Absolutely. We are ready and raring. I'm feeling a little bit out of sorts. I don't know. I'm
Same.
Not practiced enough.
We've only had a bit over a week off.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
We're right.
We'll get back into it. Don't you worry.
Just loosen up.
That's right. How has your couple of weeks been?
Oh, come on. You have to go first. Tell us about your couple of weeks.
Well, okay. I mean, if you insist. I went to South Korea and it was phenomenal. It was, honestly, it is the hidden gem of Asia.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to put it on their list. It is probably one of the best countries I've ever been to. And it was just extraordinary. It was everything I wanted it to be and then some.
Wow.
The food was great. It is so clean. It's really safe. The people are beautiful and really welcoming of visitors and guests. And it was just wonderful. Everything about it. There was not one thing I did that I was like, oh, nah, probably wouldn't do that again.
Yeah,
or
right.
What have I gotten myself into or anything like that. It was just phenomenal.
Amazing.
Absolutely phenomenal. Highly recommend it. And although I didn't take my kids, I went girls trip. Don't be jealous.
Oh, no. Yeah.
There is, I can't wait to take the kids back there because there's so much for kids to do there. It's really sort of set up well for that. And it's so easy to get around. Their public transport system's incredible. Just so good. So good. I highly, 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 highly recommend it.
As I was saying to you, our TikTok feed has kind of been influenced by the fact of that you're in South Korea, and therefore I've been getting even just through there these clips and things of what to do in South Korea, and looking at that I was like, this is not, I don't know what I expected from South Korea because it's just not a country that's ever been on my radar. It's not, I don't know nothing about what South Korea has to offer. Yeah. And looking at the TikToks, I was like, oh, wow.
Now I know.
The shopping.
The shopping is amazing. Yeah. They love a personalised item. So you go to any of the stores there and you can personalise almost anything. So I brought the kids back some Nike T-shirts and you can get them all personalised, and Nike caps.
Cool. Yeah.
They love a sporting brand, so all of that sort of stuff. Even just they have these underground markets that are sort of, you get off the subway and they're sort of at the subway stations. Yeah. And it's market as far as the eye can see, just kilometres of it.
My dream.
And the food, there's food, there's clothes, the clothes are even just beautiful there and so well priced, and it's not dirt cheap. It's not like going to Bali, but it's way cheaper than Australia.
And I'm guessing quality though.
Excellent quality.
Bali's great for how cheap it is, but that T-shirt gets a hole in it pretty quickly usually, and that sort of stuff. So, you pay for what you get.
Good quality stuff. And, the food was amazing. I did not eat one thing that I was like, oh, nah. Yeah. I mean, you're pretty adventurous. Pretty adventurous with my eating. But even still, my youngest, as I'm sure everyone who's been listening for a long time knows, he's so fussy. Yeah. I feel like everywhere we went, there was something that I know he would eat.
Really?
Because, they love a fried chicken and he'll eat fried chicken.
Yeah, okay.
Or even just plain rice or sort of a stir-fried rice or something. They had that. But we had so many soups and, it was just amazing. Just so good. So good. Yeah. So if it's on your list, guys, get on there.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Oh, just the usual, the routine of it all. Yeah, no, they're good. No, we've had school holidays here, so I've, got to hang out with the kids. We went away for a few nights and stuff, which was really good. It's always good to get away and, do those sorts of fun things that you don't ordinarily do. Actually, I've brought back a love of mine that I'm now determined I'm going to do more of.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah, I've always been really into ceramics and doing pottery. Yeah, and I absolutely love it. When we were away, there was this pottery place that we went to that was like an artist commune, kind of almost. It was lots of different artists like you could go and check out their work and things. But there was like an area where the kids got to, glaze their own item, which we're still waiting on getting delivered back down to us and stuff from where we were. And but they also gave them like a thing of clay to like work with as well, which was air dry clay. So you just took that with you. And oh my God, it was so therapeutic sitting there, constructing things and that. And the boys were like really impressed with my skills. So I felt really good about myself.
Yeah, and if your kids are impressed, it must be impressive. Like it takes a bit. Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was really, really nice. All of it actually there's 4 of us sitting there, that we were all doing it together, that we all like walked away going, oh my God, I just feel really good about myself right now. Like,
how good is that?
Calming. Yeah. So I'm like, no, I really need to do some pottery. I need to get some play in my life. Yep. So whether I do a class or whether I get it at home and do the air dry thing or whatever, that just scratches that itch.
A friend of the podcast, Talia,
yes,
is big into her pottery. Maybe I need to get her to have a chat with you because she makes some amazing stuff.
Oh, I need to find
and
out.
she's sort of, I think now, she might even have a kiln at home. I think maybe. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But she does a lot of it at home. Yeah. And she's been, selling her stuff at markets and stuff.
Wow, I'm certainly not that. But
I reckon, it just takes a bit of practice and you'll be there.
I'll just, make a few pinch pots. That's all good.
So her Instagram handle is at Little Box of Chaos, all one word. So check her out. She makes some really, really cool stuff. She's very, very talented.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, definitely. I see the appeal of it, although I just don't feel like my artistic skills really match. So I'd have a vision of what I wanted to do, and I just don't think I'd be able to execute it.
100%. No, keep it simple, stupid.
Okay.
Is my absolute philosophy of life in general. But definitely when it comes to clay, absolutely. Because simple is, I just made really simple, that little, pinch pots.
Okay.
But it's just a bit of technique you need with it.
Yeah.
But I've made the boys each one for various things that they both have their. Brody's like got an obsession with crystals, so I've made him one that's big enough to keep certain crystals in, and made Mason one for his loop earbuds and stuff to keep the case for that. And
cool.
Yeah, but they were like, they're just so simple, but they're really lovely. Like they're nice.
Oh,
so
I can't wait to see them
finished. You don't have to be that talented to do it. Trust me.
Okay. It's just therapeutic, the actual process
totally
of it.
It was just the best couple of hours. It really was.
Oh, that's so nice. So wholesome, Meg.
I know.
So
what is going on with us?
Was wine involved?
No, but I'm planning on doing that for our breakup. Actually, for the end of the year, I'm like,
sweet.
It was actually a fair one called was it called Merlot and Mud? Mud and Merlot. Yeah. I'm like,
I'm in. You had me at Merlot. Actually, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so I think I'm totally obsessed now.
Done. All right, happy with that. Lock it in. Lock it in, Eddie.
Absolutely.
All right, I've actually got quite a few shout outs this week because we've had that little bit of a break, and I think as a result of that, we've had lots of Patreons join us.
We have. It's been mad.
So thanks to everybody who's signed up. First of all, to Nicole Murrell, Stacey, Nikki Egan, Lane Appleby, Leanne Robinson, Michelle Vell, Beck, Hannah Knoll, Bree, Alexandra Griffith, and Anna from Sweden. Sweden. So thank you to everybody for joining us. It really means a lot. Every time that ping comes up on my phone to say that somebody's joined us, I get a little flutter. It just really, I can't tell you how much we appreciate it.
The fact that people are willing to literally put their good hard-earned money across to go we want to support them is just incredibly...
it's very humbling.
It's very humbling.
Yeah.
It's mad. I'm it really motivates us to get, keep putting this out because people are clearly
into it.
Which I keep questioning myself on that. But no, clearly this is working. So.
It's working. We'll keep going with it.
We'll keep going. You guys want it, we're there. And Patreons, we're getting more involved and actively over there now that we're, we're only new to this. So,
yes.
And I have to say, I'm still working out even how it all functions and where the comments come in and how to keep track of it all. So, I mean, we're we're going to build up what we do in there, and we've already been planning a little bit more of what we will present over there, and got some great fun things I think coming up.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it'll be fun.
It's going to get great. So come and join us
if you'd like. That'd be great. We also have some really great comments on Insta DMs. We had we actually had TM sisters and a country mum, again, a couple of times over the last month or so, tag us in their stories and get, recommend us to other people. So thanks for that, guys. And to Sherry Hope Hennessy, gorgeous comment to us. Thank you. And then we had a comment from Catherine W66 from Germany, who found us because she was looking for an English language podcast to learn English.
I'm not sure if we're that one for you.
Just don't necessarily copy all our words. or do.
Well, look, if you want to be the cool kid.
Having said that, though, an Australian accent's quite an acquired taste. So if you
learn
when based
those
on
other words around in
I know. So if you're speaking to anybody who's not Australian and you say something and they kind of give you a weird look, you'll know that must be an Australianism.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, we can teach you all sorts of things.
It was really funny actually when we were in South Korea, just really quickly. Not a lot of English is spoken there.
Yeah.
The younger people, yes, but okay. Restaurants and stuff. There's sometimes not a lot of people who speak English necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
And so it really made me conscious when I heard English.
Yeah.
What it sounds like. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, I do.
And, so there were a lot of American, a lot of the English accents that we heard were American accents.
Yeah.
Like, that's a certain type of sound.
It hits hard.
It's a very harsh kind of sound, especially against Korean.
Absolutely.
But then I'm like, I just feel like we against Korean or against any other language, it just sounds so bogan.
Oh, I'll never forget a moment where I thought I was doing the right thing and I was in France. And I said, s'il vous plaît,
s'il vous plaît.
And the person looked at me and in a French accent, which is the weirdest thing ever to then try and do an Aussie accent, came back at me and just went, oh, what, silver plate, mate? And I'm like,
was it that obvious?
I was like, I thought it was so good. And he picked it immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, like, okay.
Shame on me. The French hate it when you butcher their accent too, though.
He was really nice about it. But he was having a joke with me. But at the same time, I'm like, I actually thought I did really good. I was
trying really hard. When I was a kid, we lived in the States for a little while. And obviously we still had Australian accents. Although when we came back to Australia, everyone thought we had American accents. Anyway, it was a mishmash of whatever. But I remember my brother and I were standing in the line at a I don't know, we were buying something and we were talking to one another and this woman behind us goes, "Excuse me, are you speaking German?"
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, "Oh, no, we're actually speaking English." So I'm like, the Australian accent's a very particular type.
Yeah, but particularly Americans don't really get that there's really beyond themselves much. So, I mean, no offense for the Americans who, listen to us. I know we do have a few. Yeah. But yeah, so they don't pick up the accents as much, I don't reckon. And also I've had actually legitimately an American say to me when they said, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, Australia." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, of course." Like, I went, "Austria," and I'm like, no, Australia. No. And like, it's not until you say to them things like the one with the kangaroos that they register sometimes. Yeah.
All right, let's get into today's case.
Yes,
shall we?
Because this is a huge case.
It's a big one, and this is something it's still in the media now.
It is, and it will be for a very long time.
A very, very long time. It's sort of like almost one of those cases that has defined our era in a way because there's so much about it and so much nuance to it. And look, I don't even think we're going to be able to cover everything today.
I'm sure we'll miss stuff.
Oh, we will for sure.
Yeah.
But we're today talking about the Karen Reid case, and it is only ever referred to as the Karen Reid case whenever you...
Let alone poor John O'Keefe, the person who
actually died in this. But anyway, so that's what we're talking about today. It is fascinating. There are so many characters involved. It's pretty complex.
Yeah.
So we're going to do our best to kind of keep everything on track.
We'll try and narrow down the amount of people we talk about a little bit. I think we'll try and chill that, like keep that chill. But as best we can. And yeah.
I mean, you have to introduce certain characters because they're so pertinent to what happened.
So we will refer to most people by their first and second names because we have a lot of same first names.
Yeah.
A
lot of Brians.
Same first names. Same surnames. Yeah, a lot of Brians.
A lot of Brians. Too many Brians. It does my head in.
When we get to Massachusetts, I guess that's what we get, isn't it? Brian. Oh, God. We do the Boston accent again? No, I don't
Oh, my God. No, we can't. We can't. But it is such a particular... Speaking of accents, that is such a particular accent. And, I mean, obviously, having researched this, we've been listening to a lot of Bostonian accents in the...
Even where I find that really interesting that Boston, we're actually talking in Canton, which is south sort of, I think, in Massachusetts still, but it's further south than Boston. And the accent isn't as intense at all. Like
but they've still got that twang.
Yeah. But it's not quite the same, is it? Like it's really, it's interesting how, I mean, I don't know. Do they hear it? Like the difference? I don't know. Surely they do.
Surely. Yeah. Like it's a very particular accent.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into it. Wow. So Karen A. Reed was born on the 26th of February 1980 in Blacksburg, Virginia, near the border of West Virginia and not too far from North Carolina. Mm-hmm. When she was a child, she moved from Virginia to Taunton, Massachusetts with her parents, and she had a brother and a sister. And they basically lived in a really nice little area. They lived in a court, in a cul-de-sac, and lived a very sort of idyllic childhood. Mm-hmm. She went to the local high school, and she also finished off, I believe, her high schooling at a Catholic, like semi-private high school.
Okay.
She was apparently quite a good student, a standout. Like some of her teachers have said, she was a real standout. She was very academic and very focused at school.
Yeah.
And she was amazing at the piano. Apparently she was such a prolific piano player.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's just a little bit about her very early childhood. Mm-hmm. After high school, she enrolled at Bentley University at the private business school there in Waltham, Massachusetts. And while she was there, she earned a bachelor's and a master's degree in finance. And then, so after sort of doing that, she actually then became an adjunct professor at that university and would teach there as part of one of her jobs, I guess. And then her other job was working in the finance sector.
Yeah.
So she had a very, lucrative career, I think. She was very well off in terms of, what she was able to afford. She was never married and never had children of her own.
Didn't really have any interest in that. She
was very career driven.
Yeah, and happy to not have kids. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So I guess the other main player in this story or in this event was John O'Keefe. He was born on the 8th of December in 1975, so he was 5 years older than Karen, and he was a Boston police officer. Now, he had a bit of a tragic sort of later life in terms of closer towards when he ended up passing, but again, I think he had a very typical Bostonian upbringing. There was nothing sort of stand out there. His parents, brought up. Now, what siblings did he have?
He had a brother and a sister.
He had a brother and a sister as well. Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, his sister actually passed away. She and her husband had 2 children, a son and a daughter. This will become relevant.
Yeah.
And she passed away, and then literally 3 months later, the husbend passed away of a heart attack.
Broken heart, maybe?
It must have been like 3 months later, those poor children. So that left John's niece and nephew completely orphaned. So John actually took them on and adopted them.
Well, he was there wasn't really a plan in place for like that, and he was incredibly close to his sister.
Yeah.
And people sort of say that when he passed, he was just like, well, I'm taking the kids.
Like apparently, even when she passed, he was like, he changed his work schedule to be able to help out his brother-in-law in raising the kids.
Yeah.
Like he really stepped up.
Yeah. He really was connected to them from a very young age. Because I say him and his sister had such a close relationship that he was just part of their lives a lot anyway. And then when she fell ill, he stepped in there and then passed when she after she passed. But yeah, when their father passed away as well, he was like, well, that's it. I'm going to take the kids. I'm going to, and obviously he had his support of his brother and his parents as well to, help him out with that. But he was like, there's no question here. It's what I'm going to do.
And again, changed his work So he went and he requested to have a desk job because that was safer for him because he didn't want these kids to have to be impacted again and worry about something else happening, somebody significant again in their life. So what a kind, what a kind uncle. And apparently he was a funkle. Yeah. You know, my brother thinks he's a funkle.
Oh, he is. Come on.
But, and apparently he was. Have you seen any of the TikToks they did together?
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. You can go and just see them.
And check it out.
Yeah, go and check it out because they are actually so funny. And he instigates a lot of them. Yeah. And they're like, there's one that, that I saw a couple of times when I was looking this stuff up. Yeah. And it's John with his arms behind his back and then his nephew is pretending to be his arms.
I have seen that one actually, now you say that.
And things like that. Like it's very, very funny. And you can just see that the kids and they're so relaxed with each other. Yeah. They're comfortable in each other's presence. Like those kids have been through so much trauma and to have the support of their uncle, who obviously loved them just as much as a parent would. Yes. I think lucky those kids at that time. It's probably also worth noting that John never had children of his own either. No. So they were it for him. Yeah. And they really were.
Yeah, they were. They were his world. Yeah.
He was so committed to them.
Yeah. So John and Karen first crossed paths fairly early on. They crossed paths originally in 2004. Mm-hmm. They did date briefly at this time. So this is pre, his potentially even the kids being born. I think, let alone him having them as his. And
truly, yeah.
So Karen they were dating briefly, but she ended up getting for work a role over in Ireland. So it was. She said at the time it wasn't even a foregone. It wasn't even like a question. She was going to go. They just broke up. Like it was not. And it was amicable in that sense of like there was no argument that they were like splitting up. It was just, well, my job's in Ireland, I've got to go. Okay, so this is over. She went to Ireland. I think she spent like a year over there, came back, and both of them just moved on with their lives. It wasn't nothing.
No animosity or anything.
Just a blip in, obviously dating life and things like that.
That's it.
No issue. But then again, once we hit the pandemic in 2020, people at home bored and there's John.
What do you do?
John was single. He had these two kids that he was raising, but still, obviously who doesn't want someone in their life, especially when you're home alone, like kind of stuff. He actually put out on Facebook messages to a number of ex-girlfriends and contacts, and just so happened that Karen was one of them that he reached out to. Play in the field, very much so. And Karen responded, so they started talking and that sort of sparked back a bit of a relationship. So,
well, she said as well at that time, because she was single and she was living on her own. Yeah. She was seeking companionship as well. So, this was a mutually beneficial thing. And look, as you said, there was no animosity towards each other because when they broke up. So she was curious. And she actually said to him, oh, I see you've got two kids. And he explained that situation. She was like, oh my God, what an amazing guy. So that endeared him to her as well. And that kind of got things moving along again.
Yeah. So their relationship started from obviously, living in isolation, sort of communicating, but then built from there. But the relationship wasn't perfect, but no relationship is, let's be honest. They would argue and things, but the thing that they would argue the most over was the kids. And it was not a situation of, her not wanting the kids around. She actually became quite close to the kids. And the biggest thing they'd argue over was the fact that John was the parent. Karen was playing, well, not even a step parent almost. She was, she enjoyed their company and enjoyed doing things with them that she was more like the fun auntie.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Auntie? No, that does not sound right.
No. In that she would do fun things with them and then he would have to be the bad guy was what was always the issue.
And he even sent messages to her to that effect. But then... Yeah. Look, I think she was in a pretty tough situation in that way because not only these kids, as we said, had been through the trauma of losing both of their parents, of moving in with their uncle, and even though he was great, that's still a big deal for young children. Yeah.
But I think in a way, he recognised that in that he was like, look, I understand these kids have been through a lot and everyone else then treats them too nicely, in that they've still got to have boundaries, they've still got to be taught the right things, and I get that too. I think he's right. Yeah. But at the same time, bringing in someone else into that relationship is always going to be complicated.
That's hard.
Step parenting at the best of times is really complicated.
But Karen would do a lot for them. So if John was working, she'd take them to their sporting events. She would, help out with the bake sales at school. She was very involved.
She was really hands-on, really involved. They did live separately. They weren't living together, but they would often be at each other's houses. So the kids were, obviously his place was sort of the base, I guess, and she would come and go from. She wasn't living there permanently. She had her own place, very nice place.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, but I guess that's where the beyond the Karen Reid, John O'Keefe sort of scenario in their little world. The kids then sort of brought them into this other world where they met Jen McCabe and, oh my God, now I'm going to get, what's his name? Her husband?
Oh
my God. Matt.
Oh God. Yeah. Yep. It's hard to keep track of everyone.
So Jen and Matt McCabe, both, they had children and they were actually playing with their John O'Keefe's niece, and their daughter played soccer together. So Jen McCabe and Karen became quite friendly through going to soccer practice twice a week plus a game, as we all know. You get to know each other.
It's how you meet nice mum friends.
So they sort of started to get to know each other and became quite friendly. And obviously the link there of then a lot of John O'Keefe being a police officer, Matt McCabe knew many others that were police officers, and they all sort of mixed and mingled around with each other and knew,
it's so
knew
intertwined
friends of each other's, and had mutual friends and all these sorts of things between them. So it became this whole new world, I guess, of other people they were branching out to via the kids.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It certainly opened up a new world especially I think for Karen, because I guess being the police officer that he was, John was already kind of involved with these people in a social sense.
Yeah.
Karen's then kind of come into that, and so she wasn't as closely attached to everyone as John was, but certainly she was expanding sort of her social circle into all of these people. And my God, what a complex web of people that is.
And a really interesting group of people.
Yeah.
When I think of Boston and Massachusetts in general, I guess you do have an understanding of the sort of lifestyle they lead, I guess. This is not unusual, I don't think, this group of people.
No, I don't think so.
They're fairly standard.
Yeah.
Enjoy a drink.
Yeah. I think that's, I don't want to generalise, but I'm going to. I think police officers, and I feel like maybe even... it may be changing now, and I'm talking 2025 recently now, maybe. But even still, I think police officers, they often will debrief at a bar or at a pub or...
Well, I think it's been a male world.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been where men have been conditioned to do that.
I know our great mate Ron Iddles talks about the fact that, something shit had happened at work.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't talk about it. You'd just go and have a couple of beers at the pub and move on with it sort of thing. So,
Which isn't actually therapy, people.
Oh, no. We're not suggesting by any means that it is. So, look, there's healthier ways to deal with it, that's for sure. And Ron certainly says that, he's a big advocate for, positive mental health access for police officers and other emergency responders. However, I think there is a culture of this. And certainly by the sounds of it in Massachusetts, in Boston, it's exactly the same because they bonded and would catch up at these bars all the time. This wasn't what we're going to talk about.
This was very much a regular.
It was regular.
Friday,
it was
Saturday night thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You tell yourself no one wants your college era band tees, but on Depop, people are searching for exactly what you've got. You once paid a small fortune for them at merch stands. Now, a teenager who calls them vintage will offer that same small fortune back. Sell them easily on Depop. Just snap a few photos and we'll take care of the rest. Who knew your questionable music taste would be a money-making machine? Your style can make you cash. Start selling on Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
I am your host, Stassi Schroeder. Welcome to Tell Me Lies, the official podcast. What's the most unhinged thing of season 3?
Steven, because he's so evil.
I do think he is misunderstood.
You see everyone face consequences. It's intoxicating.
The writers just know how to trick you.
There's always a twist in this show. It's nothing you would expect.
Tell Me Lies, the official podcast, now streaming, and stream the new season of Tell Me Lies on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
So should we talk about Are we ready?
The
day. All right. So basically, this all kind of took place on the 28th, 29th of January in 2022.
Yeah.
So it was an unprecedented weather front was coming in with a blizzard, basically, and the most snow that Boston had seen in years.
Yeah.
Years and years. I think it was like 8 years or something. They hadn't seen a snowstorm so significant. Mm-hmm. They were expecting up to 5 feet of snow. Like, you think how tall I stand? That's basically like I'm 5'4".
Yeah.
It's like that much snow in a storm to come in. You can't even imagine it.
Living in a country where that's just not. We struggle to get snow on our snow fields.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I always relate this to the fact of like people in Australia, depending on where you live, usually Melbourne, where we are, gets sort of considered like, it's freezing in Melbourne. It's so cold in Melbourne. We sort of get shat on a bit by every other state of like, that we live in the cold. Yeah,
because every other state has beautiful sunshine most of the year.
24/7. But because we get the odd, grey overcast day. like
more than the odd one.
Yeah, more than the odd one. And we get 4 seasons in a day.
Yeah.
But not only that, people do complain, it's cold. We don't know what cold is.
We've got no idea.
Yes, we get an 8-degree day, we get up in the morning, you're driving to work and it gets to -1. Oh, that's the worst thing in the world.
That's literally the coldest it gets.
Completely, that's a balmy day for some people at -1. So we do not live in a cold part of the world.
Yeah.
We don't even know what that is.
I think the night that this incident took place, it was something like -22 degrees Celsius.
Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Celsius,
yeah. Wow.
I think it crosses over at -40.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So it'd be
pretty close.
Yeah.
Like that's bloody cold.
Yeah.
And none of them are wearing much.
No, and this is what blows my mind. But I know having, I was in the States, I was in Washington for a while, and when you go into an establishment, it is hot.
Yeah, they're well.
So you have to take every layer and everything off, and you basically can wear, t-shirt and jeans inside. It's so hot.
But you take extra clothing,
of course, absolutely.
Whereas
these guys
don't
really
seem to do that.
No.
Whereas to me,
But then I'm like, do they have better high tech clothes that they're not taking the bulky jackets? Because I don't know. They've got better stuff.
I'd say no from what occurs here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
All right. So on the night of the 28th of January in 2022, they knew this blizzard was coming in. So they and what basically would mean then is that everyone would be snowed in for a week or so. And so they'd need, they thought, all right, well, let's just have one quick last hurrah down at the
to be
pub.
Honest, knowing that that's what was coming, they were all very
calm about it
and not really worrying too much about it.
I just feel like maybe they're like doomsday preppers and they're already sorted,
used to it.
And they had the water and the batteries and everything you would need for if this was going to happen at home, and let's just go for it.
Yeah, I guess that's maybe what it is. Because I know, Karen Reid and John had actually had an argument prior to this, and throughout the day we're texting each other about this. But in the back of Karen's mind was the fact that, this blizzard was coming, that she didn't really want to be on her own at home. So as much as she's having an argument with John, she's like, yeah, but I kind of want to go and stay at John's and be with him. And this is, real relationship entirely to me in that fact of like, even though I'm fighting with him, I'd rather be with him,
than be alone for the next week
in my own house. So, because potentially they would be able to see each other
for a week or so. But Karen said she couldn't remember whether her dad called her or whether she called her dad right before she ended up going up to John's, and told her dad that we've had this fight and I don't know what to do because this storm's coming and I want to go, but he's pissing me off, so I don't really want to go.
Yeah.
And her dad apparently said to her quite gently, I think you should just stay at home. I think just give it some space. That week or whatever it'll be is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But she said she then got off the phone with him, kind of considered it, and then went, no, I'm going to go.
I'm going to say, you should always listen to your dad.
Always. Always. Yeah. Because imagine we wouldn't be talking about this if it wasn't for that.
Not at all.
So shortly after midnight, Karen, John and a group of their friends went to the Waterfall Bar and Grill in Canton.
Yeah.
So they'd been at another
just across the road.
Restaurant before.
Restaurant bar across the road. They'd had many drinks there and then moved across to the Waterfall.
Yeah, because it was open later.
Later.
Okay.
Yeah.
And look, from all accounts, and certainly the prosecutors say that, and there's video evidence that Karen had been partaking in drinking certainly throughout the night.
I think at least on camera they could pick up that she'd had at least 9 drinks.
Yeah.
And we don't know whether they were double shots in those drinks, singles. No. We don't know. And at one stage she does have a drink and then pours a shot into it.
Yeah.
And I've heard people say that. So I don't think we have this rule here in Australia. I don't know. I've never experienced, because I don't order more than a double at any point. I wouldn't think. God no. But yeah, there's a limit of how many you can order. Like you can order a triple, but you can't order a quadruple.
Okay.
So what people will do is order a triple and a shot, and pour the shot in. So we don't know what
I
combination.
guess that makes sense, because if you're thinking responsible service of alcohol, there's probably a limit of how much alcohol you can serve in one drink.
Yeah,
but then
I know
if
from
you're providing a shot on the side, I mean, same.
Totally. Well, I know we used to serve a particular drink that was called an attitude adjuster, and it certainly did adjust your attitude.
Oh, what was in it?
Cointreau vodka, Bacardi, and one other. Oh, and a Red Bull.
Oh.
So it must have been triple in it. Yeah, we were only allowed to serve people one.
Yeah, okay.
But there were people who would
try and get it.
And we had to call an ambulance once. Let's just call that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Stopped serving them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were pretty.
I feel like the Red Bull would tip me over the edge if nothing else.
To be honest, the Red Bull was because that was what got your heart going.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, no thanks.
Because people would just down them.
Oh, God, no, yuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, so as you said, Karen, I think she might have had 5 drinks at the first place and they think 4 at the second, but I think that extra shot thing happened at the second place at the waterfall.
And some people look out there, because this is the thing, there's lots of theories on all these shit. Let's say that.
You can find anything that you want to back up your case in this story.
I do believe that too. So, so a lot of people will say but it could have been water. I'm sorry, what water's getting a lemon or a lime, garnish on the side.
Swizzled into it, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think they were waters, no.
No, and the way she was drinking them too, you down a water, you don't sip a water.
Yeah.
And anyway, she says she didn't even drink her last drink, that she put it in her car and ended up tipping it out or whatever, but whatever.
Yeah.
Regardless, she's had a fair few.
Her blood alcohol limits tend to support the fact that she had had a number of drinks.
Absolutely. We'll get to that because I've got it written down exactly what it was. But anyway, we'll get to that in a sec. So what they decided, I think the waterfall was closing a bit earlier due to this blizzard that was happening, because apparently it was coming in.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a bit earlier than anticipated, but the waterfall bar and grill were like, fuck
We're
off.
out.
Fuck off. We don't want to be stuck in here
with all you drunks.
So they closed down. And this bit I find bizarre. So they're in a group of friends, right? And they all decide to go off to the home of another Boston police officer by the name of Brian Albert.
Yeah.
And his wife.
Brian and Nicole Albert.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but John isn't 100% if he and Karen are even invited.
Jen McCabe was the one, Matt and Jen McCabe, who they knew the most from being there. They invited them to it.
But they were in a group. This is what doesn't...
But, let's just clear that a little bit. Jen McCabe is sisters with Nicole Albert.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would say I could invite anyone to my siblings' house.
Yeah.
I don't think that's inappropriate,
an issue. No.
Kind of thing. But yeah, they were a little bit like, we don't know Brian and Nicole
that well. But they've been with them that night.
Yeah, but there's also another layer of that I can kind of come at, that there'd been some with the Alberts and with John.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of conflict there.
Yeah.
So maybe that was a layer of, I don't know if we're meant to be going.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So they weren't really sure whether they were invited, but they were kind of like, Jen McCabe did say we're going, so... And obviously they've had that many drinks. They're kind of like, yeah, party.
Yeah.
But the other element of that being a bit weird too is that I find it so the reason they're saying come back to the Albert's place is because there's a party happening there already. But it's their son's birthday.
It's his 18th, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 18th, yeah. Yeah, so this is Brian Jr.
Yeah,
So
another Brian. Don't worry, there's another Brian.
So he's having a bit of a party at the place at their house anyway. So they're kind of like, come back to ours. There's, we'll kick on there with the 18-year-olds.
Who aren't even legal to drink there.
No.
Like they're 21. Their legal drinking age is 21.
Yeah.
So and they're police officers.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so much wrong with that.
So much. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, they get in they all get in their own cars And this is the thing that I just get. Oh my God. They all get in cars and they all drive. And it's apparently just a thing. You drive in the back streets around Canton drunk.
I can't
And these are police officers.
Yeah, I know. I just think that's so gross.
Oh, I really have an issue with
too.
that. So Karen, and I don't know, Karen was driving. She had driven. Well, for whatever reason, that's what had occurred.
Yeah, and she drove. Well, I think what actually happened was because she was coming from her house, she basically just stopped, picked up John, and kept going to the first bar. Did she pick him
up? I think he got there, and because she comes in and they hug and stuff on the camera.
Oh, that's right.
So I think she might have met him there.
She must have. Actually, that is true. Yes, sorry, I forgot about that. Yep.
So no, so she was driving. So yeah, she gets in her car, and John gets in with her, and they drive. And it's not far. I get that, but
I think it's still like a 7-minute drive or something.
It's far enough to have not driven when you're drunk.
You shouldn't drive 30 seconds if you're drunk.
No.
But anyway, go on.
Yeah. So they get there, and everyone else had got there before them. Like they were inside, and there weren't cars out the front, or anything like that of like this big party happening. It was a little bit, what's the deal here? What's going on? So Karen and pulls up, and she's sort of like, oh, I just don't know if we're meant to be here. Like maybe let's just go home. And so according to her, John gets out of the car to go, I'll go in, check what the go is. I'll come back and let you know, and then we'll work out whether we're staying or not. Because obviously this blizzard's rolling in too. Where are you going to park your car on the street? Because I don't think you're allowed to park your cars on the street because of the plows that come through and clear the roads.
That's right.
So I guess she's probably a little bit, that's obviously another layer of this of like, well, where do I leave my car? And, am I blocking someone else in if I pull in their driveway? What do we do here? How long are we going to be? Like, or can I leave the car here? So many things.
Yep.
And she's really freaking drunk. So he gets out of the car and apparently, according to her, goes in.
Well, she didn't see him go in.
Her story changed on that multiple times.
Yeah.
And her final story of it is that she saw him go in. She says.
Her initial statement was that she saw him go to the door.
Yeah.
And then she got out her phone and was like looking at, she hadn't checked her messages or anything or checked her phone all night. So she was looking down, checking that. So she didn't actually see him go in.
Yeah, which I believe more.
I believe that more. That makes so much more sense to me.
I think anyone would do that. Like, he's going in. All right,
yeah,
well,
it suits her story too much to say she saw him go in.
Yeah.
And why change it?
Believe that. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So, according to her, anyway, he's out of the car.
Yep.
She sits there for 10 minutes or so going like, where the hell is he?
Even again, that was like, she changed her story on how many minutes she sat there for.
But there are they've tracked the car records of it.
Okay.
And so, yeah, she was parked out the front. She did move her car at one stage, which is someone else did pull up.
Yeah.
So she moved forward.
Yeah.
There is evidence of all those sorts of things.
Okay.
But approximately about 10 minutes or so, she'll sit there going like, how long does it take to go in and say, are we coming in or not? So this is her story at this point, I guess. How long does it take to, figure out whether or not we're welcome to come in or not? Where are you, John? And look, as I say, their relationship wasn't that great. As much as it looked lovey-dovey on like the cameras where they're drinking and they're having that fun time, there was things that were a bit rocky about their relationship, So she was like a little, and there'd been a kiss on the cheek basically of someone prior to this that had upset her with John. So she was like, what the hell's going on here? What is there someone here that he doesn't want now me coming in, or like what's he doing? She cracks the shits after 10 minutes of not knowing where he is and what he's doing and goes, fine, fuck, I'm going home.
Well, she did try calling him.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
On the phone. So she had her mobile phone. He had his. She tried ringing him. He never answered his phone. She sent him a couple of text messages, I think.
Where are you?
Didn't answer
what's
them.
going on? Yeah.
So she's like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
And is this the point where she did the 3-point turn to get out of the driveway?
Yeah. Well, she wasn't in the driveway. She was on the street.
Oh, on the street, sorry.
But she had to do a U-turn to go back the other way.
Yeah. So she's like, she's gone down the street, backed up the driveway, and then gone back the other way. So done a 3-point turn to kind of go back out.
Yeah.
And she's then gone back to John's house because the niece and the nephew were at home. And while they could be left at home for a little bit, they were young teenagers at the time.
14 and 10, I want to say.
Yeah. They certainly couldn't be left home alone overnight. So Karen, to her, I mean, she wasn't going to be driving home anyway, but she's gone back to John's house. And apparently the niece and nephew had to charge their phones in John's room.
Yeah.
And so when Karen got back to the house, that she noted the kids were in. Oh, actually, the niece wasn't in bed yet. The nephew was in bed.
Oh God, this is like 1 o'clock.
I know.
Well, 12:30. I should say would be more accurate.
And but her phone was already on the bedside table, and she said to the niece, so Karen said to the niece, have you heard from John? And the niece is like, oh, let me go and check my phone. Went into John's room. There was nothing there from him. So she basically says, well, I can't get a hold of him, and, you know, I don't know what's going on. And so Karen then rings John's phone again and leaves a voicemail at about this is about 1 o'clock in the morning. And it says, you're a fucking loser. Go fuck yourself. John, I fucking hate you. Yeah. Because she's pissed off that he's basically left the responsibility of the kids to her.
Yeah.
Ditched her, just gone inside and not come out. You know, he'd said he'll come out and get her if it's okay for her to come in. Didn't do any of that. So she's pissed. I get that. I'd be pissed.
Totally. She leaves some pretty outrageous messages.
Oh, my God. Some of them are so spicy. I mean,
laying the fact that, like, you know, yeah, she's drunk. She's adamantly, like, she is drunk too. Drunk. So, I mean, yeah, the messages are pretty unhinged.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so many of them. So you can hear these messages and stuff. And she accuses him of cheating on her, like, you know, all these sorts of things. Yeah. I'm here with your kids, you know, and where are you? And you're fucking someone else. And they're pretty outrageous. And God, how many were there? There was so many phone calls that she made in that. I believe it was like 50.
You know what? I had 50 in my mind as well.
I think
that sounds about right.
Between, like, you know, 12:30 and like 4 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
There's something like 50 odd phone calls to John's phone. So pretty crazy. Like, that's full on. I shouldn't say the word crazy. I don't like using that word for that. But, yeah, that's full on. I don't know if I would be calling that person that many times, even if I was that pissed with them. I don't know. But that's drunk behaviour, I guess, isn't it, too?
Yeah, well, that's it. There's the added sort of element of alcohol there.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Anyway, so as you said, she's calling basically between 1 and 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. She mustn't have slept.
No, she does. She did go to sleep.
She did sleep?
She did sleep. She did sleep for hours.
How did she manage to get 50 phone calls in and a nap in that time, in 4 hours, basically?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
God. Yeah.
But basically, so at 4:23, John's niece called Jennifer McCabe. So now, remembering Jennifer McCabe is Brian Albert, the house owner. That's his sister-in-law.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep this all. But she was a friend of John's, and she was the mum of John's niece's best friend, basically.
Yeah.
So I guess, that stands to reason that they couldn't find John. The niece kind of knew that,
they were out
Jen was
them.
there, and she's like, let me call her and see what she knows.
Yeah.
And Karen, apparently, according to the niece's testimony anyway, at this point was really distraught, really like, I can't believe he hasn't come, angry more than anything, really upset with him.
She's got her own trauma. Yeah.
Yeah. On this phone call, McCabe's testimony is that she could hear Karen in the background basically screaming, John didn't come home. We had a fight. What am I going to do? I need to find him. I don't know where he is. And she was really sort of agitated. And then Jennifer decides to come over to John's house where Karen and the niece are. They get in the car, and then this other woman, what's her name?
Kerry.
How did she even come into the picture?
Yeah, because she wasn't there on the night.
No, she wasn't there on the night, but she just appears in the car when they go looking for John. I never really got
part of that friendship group, but she wasn't there on the night. Yeah.
So did Jen call her to say, hey?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. I didn't realise that.
No, actually, maybe Karen Karen might have rung her and said, have you seen him or something?
Okay. Oh, that's weird. Yeah. I just didn't understand how she kind of came into the picture.
Yeah.
Anyway, the four of them have gotten in the car and gone looking for John. Three?
Yeah, just three of them.
Oh, the niece didn't get in the car? Oh, okay. And apparently, according to Jen McCabe, in the car, Karen says something along the lines of, what if he's dead? What if a plough hit him? I don't remember anything from last night. We drank so much, I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
So they then decide to obviously go over to Brian Albert's house because...
Well, interestingly, it's weird. They come to his place and then I think they go to Jen McCabe. They go somewhere else because basically they're like looking for him in places where... And Karen keeps repeating, going, the last place I saw him was at 34 Fairview Drive,
Road, yeah.
where we were, the Alberts. So we need to go there. And for some reason, Jen McCabe takes her elsewhere to look for him. So she's like, no, we need to go there. We need to go to their place, to the Alberts, So eventually they do go to the Alberts. Now they pull up at the Alberts and apparently immediately Karen's like, oh my God, there he is. I can see him. There he is in the snow. Now Jen McCabe and Kerry both testify that they couldn't see anything.
It was a mound of snow.
But Karen saw immediately, there's John. And it wasn't until they got out of the car and things going, what on earth is she talking about? That they looked and went, oh my God, they find him laying in the snow, like buried under a layer of snow.
And I'm not talking like a little bit of snow. It is a lot of snow.
And it is, I mean, look, it's dark at this point. It's still early, very early in the morning. Mm-hmm. Not only that, the blizzard is active.
Yeah.
Like
it's snowing hard.
Yeah. And I look at them on these, the clips, because you've got video footage from like police body cams, but also cars.
Yeah.
And the car footage, dash cam footage. You watch them all, they're not wearing that much.
I know.
It floors me how they're all like fairly, not casually dressed, that's wrong, like, but just lightly clothed in this. You can see the snow coming, pelting down. Mm-hmm. It must be absolutely freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's insane. But they get out of the car and yet she finds him. Jen McCabe is the one who gets onto the 911 phone call and she calls for help. Karen goes straight to John and she, clears the snow and stuff, and she's like, she tries to give him CPR.
She takes off her jacket and tries to warm him up.
Yeah.
With her clothing. Actually, sorry, she takes off her jacket and his jacket and tries to use her body warmth to make him warm.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is kind of futile given that he's in a mound of snow. But
I guess you do what you got to do.
Oh, you would do anything.
Yeah.
Karen's panicking. She's like beside herself. She's hysterical. Multiple people call 911. Very interesting, though, what the homeowners do and don't do.
Yeah, see, I think people are going to get annoyed with me.
Go.
I actually can understand that they didn't come out. When you look at that blizzard and the noise that blizzard is, like, there was wind gushing, there was, like, right? They've been drinking the night before. They're heavy sleeping. I actually can, in a world, understand them not hearing what was going on out there. When you watch the dash cam footage, you can hear how loud that
is true.
Is. And I think they've, closed windows, closed doors. They're locked in for the, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like there was a window open somewhere.
Or whatever.
They're kind of bunkered down a little.
I'm like, why didn't Jen go inside to her sister and be like, oh my God, we've just found someone potentially dead out the front?
Yeah. No, yes, I do. I agree with that. I do agree with that. But I can understand Brian and Nicole going, we didn't hear anything. The other side of that is, so
I think that's giving them a big benefit of the doubt. But anyway.
Well, we're probably going to have issues with lots of things as we go. But Brian, as he said on this, he testified that when he did realise what was stuff going on outside, now he still didn't come out the front. Now he says that is because, as a police officer, he wasn't going to get himself involved in it. As in, he had no involvement in what was happening, and so therefore he didn't come out.
That's bullshit, because he did have involvement. It was happening at his house.
This is where, and I do have an issue with that as well. And look, poor police work is a whole lot of that, completely. And so, yeah, I agree. But according to him and his testimony, that is what procedure would be for a police officer in a scenario like that. Take it as you will. That's what he stands on. Okay. That's what he says. Yeah. As a human, I couldn't.
No. And, I guess at some point, I don't know, your humanity almost has to take over, especially because he wasn't on duty. It's not like he was called to a scene that happened to be at his house. In a world like this, it shouldn't be investigated by the local police if there are police officers involved. So I actually don't buy that. No. I actually can't come at any of that. So anyway, let's keep moving on, because there's a lot of conjecture
so
there.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are we at? So obviously the first responders arrive. And first of all, there's actually a police officer not too far away that they actually flagged down. So he comes to help them. Now, so he ends up being someone, though, who has very strong connections to the family, to the Alberts particularly. Yep. So he does, in the end, excuse himself from the investigation of this, because he does know the family really well. But the problem is the Alberts have connections to fucking everyone in the police.
Everyone.
So I don't know on what level they needed to find someone who wasn't, but unfortunately that's not what happened. But the original police officer is a no-go.
Well, he tried to provide some first aid and he coordinated like a lot of the emergency
on the
response
immediate ground
in the immediate,
but
then he recused himself, which is the right thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so he was there, and obviously then we have fire brigade arrive, we have ambulance officers arrive. So there's a lot of people on this scene, a lot of people trudging through that scene, you know, and rightly so. I mean, it's sometimes incredibly hard to preserve a scene when you need to, because John is not dead.
No.
So first priority is his life and getting him. And at this point, 100%. Who knows what has gone on here?
Yep.
There's to them, you know, look, there's conjecture around this. So according to many people on the morning of, Karen Reid stated numerous times, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Or did she say, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Could I have hit him?
Literally, the prosecution says, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. The defense says, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Could I have hit him?
Now, there are many people who are on that scene who say, she said,
I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
So, how many people does it take to make a conspiracy, and how many people can you get involved in a conspiracy?
Yeah.
Is a question that
fair.
I have for many.
Yeah, fair.
And how easy is it to influence someone if you keep saying to people that were there on the night, did you hear her say, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him? And then all of a sudden in your mind it changes what was said.
Yep.
Without it actually being involved in the conspiracy.
Yep.
I can come at all of those.
Me too.
So that one I'm a little bit,
same.
I don't know how to take that.
Same.
I can fully understand in a realm of worlds going like Karen being like, I was drunk last night. I don't really remember what happened. Oh my God, did I do this? Did I hit him? Like, what the? I can understand that being a thought process, and it feels very natural for me to hear her maybe say that. Mm-hmm. However, you don't see it on camera. There is dash cam footage of her running around like a chicken, like her head cut off.
Yeah.
Look, and I feel like when I watch that, to be honest, she is reacting in a way that I can understand.
Yep. But some people say that they're like, oh, she wasn't acting like...
She was over the top or something.
But I'm
She's
like,
still
no,
drunk.
But also, if that was my partner, I think I would be reacting in exactly the same way. So I would be so, like...
I don't see anything unusual about it.
She's so heightened. And yes, of course you would be. You've just found your significant other literally on death's door. Like, he's moments away from death.
Yep. Yeah, I don't have any issue with how she reacted on that
Nor
night.
do I.
On that morning. I
Nor
really
do
don't.
I. No.
I know a lot of people do, like that were there, seem to, but I feel like that was quite judgmental.
Agreed.
Of someone going through something.
Yeah, you don't know what you would react
I would
like.
be like, however you react in that moment.
Seems reasonable to me.
The only thing I wouldn't handle is if you go, oh, he might be dead. That's about the most...
Yeah.
That's about where I'd go, oh, wow, I draw the line at that.
And it was quite the opposite to that reaction.
Yeah. So... They fairly quickly, because they see how much he's deteriorating very quickly, get him on a stretcher, they get him into an ambulance, and they take John to hospital. And unfortunately, he does pass away. Now, the police officers on the scene do their best to collect some sort of scene. Now, lots of issues with this.
Oh, massive.
At the scene, obviously, we've got snow still falling, let alone what has actually fallen. So it's very difficult. It's dark still. However, so they start collecting evidence from the scene because they don't even know if this is a scene. No one knows.
But they should know that they need to treat it that way until they know differently.
Absolutely, they do, and they do. They do.
Well, they don't.
They do. They don't. As in, like, it's poor policing, but they know they've got to collect things.
Poor. And what do? They collect it into red Solo cups, like the red plastic cups. The police station is literally 5 minutes down the road where they could go and get proper evidence bags. Send the bloody lackey off. Send the recruit off to go and do that.
Yeah.
Or you preserve that crime, what potential crime scene.
Instead, they went to a neighbour's house.
Yeah, and got Solo cups.
Which is another police officer, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
So they seem to be everywhere. How many police officers do you need in one street, let alone? They grab, clean, new, still sealed in their packet, whatever. These red Solo cups that everyone knows from parties in America. That's just like what you do. They collect snow, like with the blood in the snow in these cups, and then put that in a brown paper bag, sitting in this brown paper bag. Like
it's so fucking bizarre.
Really, really odd. They don't find a lot at the scene at that point in time.
No, because a lot of it's potentially
reasons.
buried in the snow. Like they don't know what's hidden under there. It'd be finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah,
almost.
and what they do though at that point is they get out a leaf blower and to sort of like, which I don't think is too bad of an idea, to be honest. I know the defence had a real issue with that and brought that up, but I don't think a leaf blower is too much out of the question.
I feel like the defence are like, we can use this to our advantage.
Look,
like
there's much of that.
Yeah.
Much of that. So the leaf blower comes out and they sort of blow away a bit of the scene of like, using that to try and find what other evidence might be there. The other thing I will say they found on the night, obviously it was under John's body, was his mobile phone. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he was laying on top of it.
With the 50-odd missed calls. And several text messages. Yeah. Many multiples of text messages.
Many.
Yep.
Oh, gosh. And then the butt dials. Okay. So that's all they find at that point in time. But they do continue searching throughout that day. This is where it all gets very complicated.
It does.
So quite early on, the police officers who were on the scene decide that this looks like he's been hit by a car. There's a couple of reasons they decide that. The main reason being he was found with only one shoe. The other shoe they couldn't even find at this point in time, which is very much what happens. And this is absolutely research-backed, proven thing. When you get hit by a car, you come out of your shoes. So that is a very good indicator that there's been a hit here from the car. So
some significant impact of some kind.
Yes, so it could be an explosion. But thinking in this scenario,
that
being
most
hit by
likely it'll be a car.
Looks like this could be what it is. And his injuries of like his impact at the time, they believe to be car injury of like being hit. So they do actually at approximately 4 p.m. in the afternoon, they go and they seize Karen's car. When the police officers arrive to do that, now let's say who's on scene at this point is a man by the name of Proctor. He is the lead on this. The lead investigator on this. So Proctor is a very significant character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And an interesting one too.
Oh, yeah.
So he goes to Karen Reid's house to seize this vehicle. And when he does note that there is a cracked tail light. Now, that's the only words that he used.
Yes, he didn't say broken.
No, he said cracked tail light.
It's very important.
Yep. So goes to her and they seize the car and they do arrest and charge her with, at that point, manslaughter with a vehicle and leaving the scene. So this is very quickly after all of this that occurs. Mm-hmm. So that from that point, the car is seized and it's taken to what they call the Sally Port, which is like an evidence sort of garage where they put the car and they can then have their experts, and for those that can't see me, I put that in inverted commas, their experts to look over this vehicle and see what evidence they can find from this car as to whether or not this was potentially involved in this incident.
Yeah, can I just interject here? It's another thing that I think worth noting at this point too is that there aren't many homicides or murders in Canton.
Yes.
It's not really the norm there. So in terms of experience of this police force in dealing with things like that, it's not really their bread and butter.
I don't know that I'd call them experienced almost in anything.
Well, no. That is actually a really fair comment.
There's a lot of stuff in this that with the police.
Oh, so many things. And you're just like, I'm not even a police officer and I know not to do that, you know? It's just some common sense shit.
Totally.
I'm like, fucking hell.
There's a lot wrong with this.
Yeah.
A lot wrong with this. And I mean, I don't know if I should be really honest at this point in time. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Do it.
I believe she did it.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
I'm so undecided.
Yep.
So I can absolutely see why you say that.
Yeah.
And at various times in researching this. So before I was researching this, in what I thought I knew, I thought she was guilty.
I was very much in the camp of, oh my God, this is a conspiracy and she's been framed. And
okay.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay. But see,
I've completely flipped.
Yeah, okay. So in researching it though, I can also see things now from the other side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm actually so undecided. And I don't even know how I can understand why the first jury ended up where they ended up. But I don't see how. Oh, I'm getting really far ahead. I'll talk about it at the end.
We can come back to all of that. I guess the outcome of it. But I think just in ease of talking this next bit, because once we start getting into the evidence that's there and what the prosecution and the defence put forward on their cases,
to me, that evidence is overwhelming in one direction.
And I think that was definitely a defence tactic.
Yes.
Bamboozle them.
Absolutely.
With so much shit.
Absolutely.
And God, there's so much with this.
Yeah.
So much that comes in with this. And, I mean, yeah.
All right, let's
my mind boggles.
Oh, I know, case. Right? Anyway, keep going with what you were on about.
Okay, where are we up to? So they've got the car in the Sallyport.
Yeah.
This Proctor is on the case. Now, again, he is problematic in the least, to say the least.
Would you go as far as to say he's a piece of shit?
I would 100% say he's a piece of shit. Very much so.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. So there's, again, this night we have all the witnesses to this are drunk people.
Yep.
And I'm talking all the way down to the youngest of people that were involved in this.
Yeah.
There's no one that wasn't drinking in this.
No.
You know, there's no sober person with
a clear vision of what had happened that night. Yeah.
So let's really start with that, I guess, that we're never going to get full accurate stories with it.
Yeah.
And I also want to say, I feel like sometimes we know too much. As in this day and age, we always talk about, you never get away with a murder or anything these days because we have so many things. We have video footage of things. We have
CCTV everywhere.
We've got
dash cams,
DNA evidence and scientific, ways of working things out. We have Apple phones and things like that with all their devices and what they can produce. And that's exactly what this case brings an element of all of those things to it. And in the end, we have confusion.
Yeah.
Because there is too much.
But I also think so much, and this was a defence tactic, as you were saying. The defence entered a lot of stuff into evidence, which the judge allowed, which I found really interesting, that I don't think are even relevant to this case.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I think it did muddy the waters a lot. Yeah. And, I mean, it did what they wanted it to do, to be honest.
Well, on the topic of the judge... Again, she shouldn't have been on the
No.
So she had a conflict of interest in this case.
And didn't declare it.
No, and didn't declare that. So she actually had dealings with the Alberts in another case. So she should not have been the judge. And look, many people don't like her and think that she was very much for the prosecution and that she, there's a lot of stuff out there about that. And I do agree that there was a lot of things that she didn't allow the defence to do and say. But there was also a lot of things that she did.
I know, and the things that she did allow blew my mind, and the things she didn't allow, I was like, why?
So
like there didn't seem to be a good reason for it.
My end decision with her was just like, you're just shit at your job.
Yeah.
I don't like her as a judge.
Or easily influenced, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, which is so not what you want to judge.
Oh, God, no.
That's not a judge. Yeah, so I don't know where to even start with this from now on. So, obviously, I guess we get to a point where, Karen has been charged with manslaughter at this point. So in saying that, manslaughter meaning that she has unintentionally hit him, which has caused his death, and then she's left the scene.
Yep.
So basically at first the idea is that she is potentially so drunk, she's reversed her car into him, not even known she's done it, and driven off.
Yep.
Okay. That I actually can come at.
Yep, same.
But this gets taken to a grand jury and looked at. And from that grand jury, they make the decision to indict her for second-degree murder.
Which is basically like manslaughter in Australia.
Yeah, but it comes with a much higher risk of, penalty in terms of jail time, all those sorts of things. It does have another layer.
Yeah.
So as much as I think this is where the tipping point is of where then this gets crazy.
Yes.
Because what the defence then are really saying is potentially she intentionally knocked him with the car and drove off. There's that lift from having no idea you did it to intentionally driving off.
That's right.
Because what the prosecution basically are claiming in the end is that maybe unintentionally she hit him with the car, But she was like, "No, fuck him. I'm so angry with him. I'm going to drive off and leave him." Right? So, yes, not realizing that she's potentially killed him, but having an understanding that she's hit him with the car.
Now, do you think that if they'd left it at that, this would have been a very different thing, and we probably wouldn't actually even be talking about it now?
I really, really, really
Same.
do. I literally think that if it was that she was being charged with an unintentional drunk situation,
Yep.
You've hit someone, you didn't even know you hit them,
Yep.
he died, manslaughter is what you get,
Yep.
like kind of thing, I don't think we'd hear about this.
No.
I really think that was the tipping point.
Same.
Because, yes, that scare for her has meant that she has involved other lawyers.
Yes.
And that's where this has gone.
It's gone to a circus. It's gone to a circus. It's turned this into a circus.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I guess that she probably had in her mind, and this would have, I think if I were her, I would have thought exactly the same way. She was drunk.
Yes.
So that makes her culpable.
Yeah.
You know, so that adds another layer to it as well. So I can kind of understand where she was coming from in trying to get the best of the best, or what she thought was the best of the best to represent her and really.
Look, and everyone should, if you can, you should get the best lawyer that you can get if you're in a situation like this.
Yeah.
And look, if I was in the situation she was in, or in any other, Alan Jackson is who I'd want to be my lawyer.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because I think he could get anyone out of anything.
I know, right?
That man can spin, and he is so dramatic in the courtroom. He is very convincing.
Yeah.
And freaking all over everything like a rash.
Absolutely. And he's meticulous. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
have you watched the documentary with Karen Reid? So you know that bit where they get to the room that they're going to set up in?
The war room.
The war room.
Yep.
And he's like, yep, this will be perfect. Yep, this is exactly what we need. I need this set up here. I need this unpacked here. I need this done here. Like, you can just see his method and the way he does things. He is so pedantic. Mm-hmm. But 100%, of course you'd want that in your defence attorney.
Oh, I love where at one point, like where they're coming towards the end of the first trial and they go, we ended up moving down to the coffee shop because the war room got too crazy.
It was too much.
It was too busy. It was too, they were so overrun with stuff. I think he would be overwhelmed walking in there because he would have had everything everywhere and like mapped out of what he was doing. I mean, even the way he mapped out his closing arguments.
Oh, I know. That is so impressive.
So impressive.
Go and watch the documentary, people, if you want to see it. It's very interesting.
And it does give two perspectives. It's very lean.
It's very lean.
It leans one's way, totally, but they do give you another side of it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I appreciated that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because even watching it, I at the time was still, I'm down for this conspiracy. I've come to this other conclusion further in as I have further deep dived the actual evidence not being influenced by Alan Jackson.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, it's his influence that can get you into this conspiracy theory.
And a lot of what you read is based on what he presented in court. So yes, a lot of the things you read are skewed one way. That is actually very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because particularly from that first trial.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have to say the defense counsel was not good.
No.
They were pretty shit. Yeah. And I think, again, as we go back to like an O.J. Simpson style thing, they thought they had it in the bag. And they did not.
And they didn't try. Like it felt. That's what it felt like. It felt like they didn't really think they had to try too hard.
They didn't realize what they were up against.
Yeah.
I think so. Mistrial was how it should have gone. Anyway. Oh my God. Sorry. Where do we want to start with all this bloody evidence he starts pulling apart? Okay. I think we should start actually very early on. Okay, let's go with that. All right. So as she then gets her lawyers involved. Mm-hmm. They start getting the evidence that the prosecution, are going to present. Starts, obviously, they have to share that evidence with defense,
in the discovery. Yeah.
In that, obviously, the defense also then go into that and find what they look at and what they're finding. And when they look at what was given to them by the prosecution, they find something that wasn't given to them.
Yeah.
And this is really the start of it. Because I think this is where, in the documentary, Alan Jackson says, this is where I was like, right, we've got him, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
There is a Google search that is found that came from Jen McCabe's phone. Now,
there's conjecture around time.
But we'll go with the original timestamp of 2:34 a.m.
on the morning of the 29th of January 2022.
So prior to John being found, but after Karen Reid has left him at the Alberts.
Correct.
There is a Google search, and this is famous for everyone.
Yeah, I know
it. Huss long to die in cold.
Yeah. So she's obviously mistyped how and it says Huss long
to die
in cold.
Now, this bit of evidence, weirdly enough, gets leaked somewhere. Where does it get leaked? To a particular, again, inverted commas coming out, expert journalist. His name is Turtle Boy.
Oh, Turtle Boy. Oh, my God.
Major issues.
You think of the word Turtle Boy, what image comes into your head?
Not a journalist.
No, like a teenager who's like sitting in their little dark lair and with like, I don't know, neon lights all around them, but in a dark room and gaming computer with like, you know, the perspex, I don't know, on the side of their console or whatever. No. This bloke is a middle-aged white man, quite nice looking, quite put together. But
he's a piece of shit.
He's a total fucking piece of shit.
100%.
Oh, my God. What a problematic dude.
He's so problematic. So going through this originally, when this, like, because I was in this real time when this is all going out, and I'm like, oh, Turtle Boy, he's onto it. And I loved it. Now I know who he is. I'm like, fuck me. And I'm sorry, but I think Karen Reid and Turtle Boy are having it off.
Ew.
Oh, he's in love with her.
Oh, he's definitely obsessed.
So in love with her.
He's definitely obsessed with her.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think is really worth noting about why we're even talking about this as well is because Karen is an attractive, white, middle-aged woman.
Yeah.
You know, I think if this had happened in a black family or, you know, a different socioeconomic demographic, I don't think we'd even be talking about this.
I completely
so I think
agree.
that just needs to be said.
Yep. I completely agree.
Because she's pretty.
Yep.
And people find her really attractive. Turtle Boy definitely finds her very attractive.
Definitely.
He would kiss the ground she walked on.
Yeah. And a lot of it is because, I mean, look, and I guess we're part of this now as podcasters, that podcasting has become an avenue for people to look at cases that, you know, and get deep dive into these things and, you know, as the public, you know, rather than investigators and things like that. Now, and Turtle Boy literally sits in that realm. And I think what has happened here is that this is a case that has blown him up. He's become world renowned because of this.
Absolutely.
So,
nobody knew who Turtle Boy was before this.
And we've talked about this in terms of some cases where, you know, you find that there is someone who has been convicted wrongly. Mm-hmm. That's a huge thing. That's huge. Someone being wrongfully convicted.
Absolutely.
So if you can, as a journalist, if you want to call him that, you know, finds that story where you can defend someone who, and, you know, and get them out basically from that, you know, that's huge. That's a big story for someone to break and to do that.
Yeah.
So this has been his big break. Some cases shouldn't have that kind of attention, as we've talked about with the Farquharson case, for example. Leave it alone. That's how it should be. He should be convicted. Maybe this was one where he probably shouldn't have got involved, because would it have been different? It would have been far different in terms of the knowledge of this case. Locally to Canton, probably not, but far widest reaching, definitely.
I think you're right, but and I think the fact that this came undone for him a bit, and the fact that he was then, you know, he was taken to court over this as well.
Well, he did some fucking awful, or still doing awful things.
He is a total piece of shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't actually really want to talk about him that much more, because I don't think he needs to have any credit necessarily in this. But I think you're right in saying his involvement in this has also then added another element of spotlight on the case that again might not have
it's amplified Alan Jackson's, you know, narrative.
Sure. Absolutely. It really played into that.
But it's also then like meant that a fair trial can't occur.
No.
Really. I mean, he was intimidating witnesses.
Yep.
Has been, I'm not speaking out of turn. He's been like proven.
He's been convicted of
it. Like, you know, he's intimidated witnesses. He really, really wanted people not getting on that stand. Mm-hmm. And that is not okay.
No.
But
then the thing is, that's exactly right. But so, okay, yes, he's been prosecuted and found guilty of doing that, of witness intimidation and obstructing the course of justice. Did he end up getting convicted of that as well? Anyway, that was obstruction of justice, I think, was one of the charges he had anyway, whether he was convicted or not, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But then
he's doxed people, you know, sent people around. I mean, like, because he's so far reaching that he's got minions to do his work for him, like, basically, and go to these people's houses, go to their sporting events and absolutely harass people. Disgusting.
Horrible.
Whether they are guilty or not, you don't do that.
Never.
That's fucked up. And then, but children too. I mean, we're talking doing this to Jen McCabe's children as well and
young
stuff,
kids,
which is just
he's a
that's
fucking
awful.
piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he deserves whatever he gets. But
Yeah.
I can't remember what my point was then. Doesn't matter. Yeah, as I said, don't want to talk about him much more.
No, we won't mention him. But Huslong to die in cold, we can talk about.
Huslong.
Love it. But anyway, so yeah.
So Jen says, so the defense say that message was actually sent at 5:26, which was after the prosecution, which was after they'd found
Jen McCabe claims
the body.
that whilst Karen Reid is running around like a chicken with his head cut off, going, "Oh my God, he's
you
dying."
need to tell me
how long does it take him to die in the cold? So she Google searched it whilst there, and in doing that, she's opened up an old tab, which she Googled something back at 2:34 a.m. for her daughter.
Yeah,
what was she doing up? This is where I gotta go. Oh, there's elements of this that I go, what? She was Googling something else at 2:34, not this question. And then it opened that same tab to Google search this at 5 something, whatever, in the morning when Karen Reid asked her to.
Yeah.
That is Jen McCabe's testimony. There are experts from both sides who have said both could either be true.
Yeah.
So
we don't
they
know.
just cancel each other out. And it's like, I tend to believe, actually, that what Jen McCabe said is true.
Okay.
I do. In really getting down on this,
look,
if they put a body out in the snow, why would she walk in and go, "Oh, Google search how long it'll take him to die"?
Yeah,
no one's doing that.
Yeah, and I don't think Jen McCabe's an idiot.
No,
she's I'm
not a big rap for it.
No, I'm not. I'm not either.
No.
I'm not either. But I don't think she's dumb.
No, absolutely.
She's got a certain level of intelligence that I think would stop her from Googling that.
Yeah.
Like, that's dumb.
You're really poor at a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Conspiracy, if that's what you're going to do. I don't buy it that happened.
No,
at 2:34.
I think you're right. I think it happened at 5 whatever and I think maybe, I don't know, it's weird that Karen would even say that, but then I can almost understand her saying that. But then that wouldn't be my first thought, would be to Google, to be like, get an ambulance here right now.
Yeah.
I need paramedics, I need help,
takes.
I need warmth, get blankets from inside, help me get him off the ground. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. To me, I find Jen McCabe is one that has really questioned Karen's behaviour on that morning, whereas I question that as behaviour more than what Karen Reid did. Like,
me too.
I do kind of go, who stands there and goes,
I'll Google it while someone's like dying over there.
Way, I'll Google search how long it takes for someone to die.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, I'm in there. I'm like, how are we doing CPR here? Are you doing mouth? Are you doing the mouth? Am I doing chest press? How are we doing this? Like, I'm not standing back going, do you want me to Google search that for you? I find that really off-putting. I don't know.
And that's why I can almost, in a way, also believe the 234 or whatever, because I'm like, who would actually literally stand there in a crisis and Google something?
Yeah.
Like, that to me doesn't make sense either, but then the other way doesn't make sense.
No.
So anyway, tell us what you believe, people.
I'll bring
Love
it.
to know.
Oh, bring it. I love it. Please. As I say, I've flipped teams in the middle of this. And
I think anyone will flip-flop.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So the next thing should we talk about is the broken tail light.
Okay. Yes. Let's do that. Yes. Okay.
So next thing is the broken tail light. There's scratches on the rear bumper. So Karen had this giant Lexus SUV, dark coloured SUV, right? Yeah. Huge car for one person.
Oh,
but
totally.
Anyway, didn't she think of the environment? The prosecution say that Reid reversed into O'Keefe, the tail light broke, and then that the matching debris, so the matching broken tail light, was then later, once the snow had been melted away, found in the driveway at the Albert's house.
Well,
right? That's
what the side, but
that's what the prosecution say.
Yeah.
The defence say that the damage is inconsistent with hitting a human, and that the tail light was probably broken earlier. And doesn't Karen say that she'd spoken to her dad about it earlier to say, oh, no, wasn't that you?
So
what
basically,
was that?
On the night, when she is arrested originally, and Proctor does point out to her what happened with your tail light. And she goes, I don't know, but it happened last night. Now, you can go into the ring footage and you can see this.
Oh, yeah.
So on the night, when she leaves John's place at one point earlier in the evening, she reverses back from the garage. So John had moved his car out of the garage and parked it just off to the side, and so that she could park in the garage, knowing that the blizzard was coming and her car was the better car, I guess, whatever. They've decided to put that one in the garage. So she was inside the garage. When she's gone to leave, she's reversed out of that garage and, again, been drinking. So this is when she's on her way to meet John.
Mm-hmm.
She reverses back, and you can see on the footage where his car, she reverses back, and you can't get it. It's not a great angle, but you can see that his car does move slightly. And they do hone in on it in the trial, and you can see the wheel moves and things, that there was contact.
Yeah.
And it is the correct tail light for what it's the passenger side rear tail light that connection has been made with. And then she drives off and continues on her way. So a cracked tail light could have definitely occurred if there was that minor tap. And I can also come at her not even realising that damage has been done. Because, you might kind of go, oh, did I just hit that? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, drive off.
Bye.
Got there. By the time you've got to where you're going, kind of like with a small tap.
Forgotten about it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe it was a small crack in that tail light.
As
I
first
can
reported.
come at all that.
Yeah.
However, so Proctor he spots this, obviously. That's her explanation. She goes, I don't know, but it clearly happened last night. Because she realises, obviously, but at this point, that wasn't there the day before. She does know that was not, but yeah. So there's evidence of where that potentially else could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
The prosecution obviously is saying it happened with the connection of O'Keefe. Now, there's a whole lot of issues with all of this stuff. That car gets taken to the Sally Port, and there is camera footage of the car sitting in the Sally Port and police officers doing what they do around that car. Now, as we say, Proctor is very questionable in all of this.
Oh, God.
And he is seen in that Sally Port with that vehicle before any tail light is being found at the scene.
Correct.
Now, the defence have used this really well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That footage that you will see, you look at it and you watch that footage and you think you're looking at the passenger side of the vehicle, full angle of the passenger side of that vehicle and the passenger rear tail light.
Yes.
And you tick over the time as that car is sitting there and you never see a police officer go anywhere near that rear tail light. You'll see you'll see Proctor's head on the other side of that vehicle, but never on the rear passenger side vehicle of that car. But that's what you think you're looking at. Mm-hmm. What the defence then do point out eventually after this being presented is that footage is reversed.
It's been flipped.
It's been flipped. There's a car parked next to her vehicle and it's a police vehicle, and you can see on the back of it the words police written backwards.
And that you can also see there's a number 3 as part of a number plate, and you can see that the 3's backwards.
It's backwards.
Yeah.
So when you actually watch it in the correct way, you realise you are actually observing the driver's side vehicle of the car.
Yeah.
And that therefore Proctor is on that rear tail light that is broken.
Yeah.
And so he is for quite some time.
A lot of time, yeah.
So this is problematic. And I think that the defence have definitely put something forward here that proves some doubt in all of this, 100%.
I think as well with that is, so what Proctor claims is that they then found those taillight shards in the driveway at the Albert's house, right?
It doesn't claim it. It happened.
It happened. Well, no, they were found there.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. They were then sent off for forensic testing to see whether there was any DNA, blood, anything on that. There's nothing. Nothing was ever found on them, but they do exactly match what was missing from the taillight of Karen's car.
So this is another thing that is out there, that a lot of people believe that these taillight pieces were found 3 days after the impact of John owned the car, right? Mm. That's not the truth. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It is so widely out there that this happened 3 days later and that Proctor was the one who found the pieces. Mm-hmm. That's what everyone believes. That's actually not what happened. No. So what has happened on that day? So 4 p.m.-ish, the car was picked up from Karen's, taken to the Sally Port. Yes, and Proctor is seen in the vicinity of that tail light. Absolutely. Then at 5 p.m. at the Albert's house, the police do a shoulder-to-shoulder search of the front lawn, which is where John's body was found. in that search, they find not much at all in like the first part of doing that. 5:45, they find a piece of tail light. From 5:45, for another 15 minutes, they continue to find more tail light pieces. So there is a time frame here where people are saying that Proctor could have taken those bits of tail light and gone to the scene, sprinkled them around.
But he wasn't there?
No.
No.
He wasn't.
No.
He was there after this.
Yeah.
So
he got there at 5:45 or something.
Something like it. Well, that's when they found the pieces, 5:45.
Oh, 5:45. He got there. It was after that, though.
It was around that time. It wasn't far off.
Yeah.
But they did find at least the first piece was found
before he got
prior
there.
to him getting there.
Yep.
The other pieces were found then, I think, with him being there.
Okay.
But in the end, they found 45 pieces.
Yeah.
And we're talking, like, when we say 45 pieces, like some of them are tiny.
Bits, yeah.
Some of them were bigger pieces. Yeah. So there were 45 pieces. And now, like, the snow is melting away and they're finding things. So this is where I kind of go, where I change my thought here.
Okay.
Those pieces were genuinely found there by other police.
Yeah.
I just don't know that with that many people on scene of doing a shoulder search of that, how many police officers were involved in that Proctor would be able to come in and have bits of tail light in his pockets.
And to have so many bits and
So many.
little fragments as well, which were then able to all be put together. Yeah, I do understand that.
The other part of the tail light that we should then go into, which the FBI were actually the ones that found this, was that in John's clothing that he was wearing were very small shards of tail light, matching the tail light, were found in his clothing.
Yeah. So to me, that makes me think, was his jacket open? It must have been, because he was wearing a jacket.
Yeah. He was wearing like it was like a zip
an overcoat, but
hoodie,
it must have been open because they found it on his undershirt.
Possibly. I know that she says what he's wearing in the waterfall. When there's video footage of that.
Yeah.
That's what he's wearing when he's in the snow. It's not much.
Okay.
It's not a lot of clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that they meant that then.
Yeah.
The other thing that is like fucked about this is that no chain of custody of those tail light pieces were maintained.
No. This is where the police
the police work's fucked.
It's terrible.
So they can't actually use this really as solid evidence because they didn't fucking bag everything.
No.
So what are we arguing over here? Like, we don't actually even, it kind of means nothing, to be honest.
Yes. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I agree. And that's,
so we don't know for sure what was found when and by whom, because it was never bagged and tagged and
as it should have been
maintained. Yeah, the chain of custody maintained.
So his clothing, obviously, he was wearing them when he was taken to the hospital.
Yeah, so that was fine. His clothing was okay.
They basically have said, I mean, it wasn't done as it should have been at any point in this, but they're basically saying that the FBI who've looked into this kind of go, there's no point in time where Proctor did have access to him and his clothing.
No, that's exactly.
So therefore, the clothing having tail light shards found is pretty strong evidence, which I think gets really pushed to the side.
It does.
Is exactly what the defence want. And I really, that's the bit that kind of is the clincher for me.
Yeah.
That and the tail light pieces and how they were found and how many people would need to be involved in this conspiracy to have not found those pieces, how they found them. People believe that literally Proctor was there on his own 3 days later and went, oh, look what I just found.
No.
And that's not what happened.
No.
These pieces were found legitimately.
I think you're right in that the pieces that were found on John's body, that can't really be argued because the hospital did the right thing and they bagged all of the evidence at the hospital and in the presence of a police officer. It was signed, chain of custody, everything like that. So I agree with you that that's certainly pretty bloody damning.
Yeah.
I
think, as I say, and we'll say it a lot of times, the defence have done exactly what they should have done.
Yeah.
The footage evidence in the Sally Port is fucking hell. But
that just makes the police look so fucking
incompetent.
So incompetent, but also so deceptive.
Yes,
why are you flipping?
They look like they're doing the wrong thing.
They look like they're doing the wrong thing. That's it. So of course that makes you go, well, if they're doing the wrong thing and trying to doctor evidence like this, what else are they trying to doctor?
Absolutely.
So it puts their whole case into disrepute because, of course, people are going to think that. I think that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Why would you falsify shit?
Yeah.
There's actually probably no need to.
No. And this is where I think they've done themselves no favours with that sort of stuff. That was the video. When I heard about the video footage thing being flipped, I was like, oh, fuck.
Why the fuck would you do that?
Therefore, I can go down this conspiracy route because, like, oh my God.
Agreed.
But then when I really look at the actual physical evidence of this case, that's when I go, I actually, yeah.
What about the injuries that John sustained? Yes. So he had an autopsy done and it basically came back that he had a head trauma, lacerations, arm wounds and hypothermia. So he actually died of the hypothermia and head trauma.
Yes, the head injury and then like the hypothermia contributed to the speed up of all that.
So the prosecution obviously say that he was impacted by the SUV, which caused the blunt head trauma, and then obviously the exposure to cold. We all know he was found in the snow. There's no argument about that.
They're saying he's hit. They're sort of saying on the side, like so, because his arm had injuries, and we can get into those.
Oh yeah, that's like one of my favourite parts.
So the arm injuries that he had, so sort of angled to the side to hit his arm, and then he was thrown back. And falling backwards is what's given him the head injury.
Because he's kind of fallen against the house.
Yeah, so the other injury that always gets talked about too is the fact he had 2 black eyes. Now, the 2 black eyes, we'll be really, really, really clear that medical examiners have stated those black eyes are not from physical punches to the face. They are from the bleeding on the brain from the head injury that have created black eyes.
Yeah.
So that's,
It's
and
moot,
again, So the injuries are very interesting.
Yeah.
And again, cause some issues.
Yeah. Well, the defence say that the injuries are inconsistent with a car strike. So they're talking about the black eyes, and then that the arm wounds resembled dog bites. They had an expert come in to talk about that. And that they allege that the death occurred after there was an altercation inside the Albert's house and that he was then placed outside.
Well,
to the defence.
Really went hard on that in terms of, and I feel like this was probably not what they needed to do even to get the reasonable doubt in this, to be honest. But they really went full hog into the fact that this was actually not even just an accident. This was planned prior, and that they wanted to murder John.
Yeah.
And they jumped him inside the house and beat him up and then dumped him out in the snow to die. Now, that's a big leap to go that far, I really think. But I think some of the evidence can be absolutely drawn to a thought of like drunken men having some sort of argument and there being a fight and him being, oh, fuck you, chuck him out in the snow. There is a world where I can believe that could occur.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yes. It's very
I'm not
unlikely.
fully into it, but I can come at it.
Yeah, I guess. It's not impossible is what you're saying. Yes, I agree with that. But then they were having a great time at the waterfall. All of the CCTV there shows that they were all fine.
Yeah, but the reason, what the backstory is as to why they think this occurred was what the the defence put forward is that Colin Albert, who is the nephew of the owner of the house.
Yeah, so right? Brian Albert's nephew. Yep.
He was a bit of an issue. Now, there is evidence of this, that John had actually sort of spoken to some police officers around the fact that he had seen Colin Albert dealing drugs.
Yeah.
So what they have put forward is that there was a beef between Colin and John.
But John hadn't actually reported it.
He had.
Oh,
yeah, there is evidence of it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's, they basically say that, Colin was like lying in waiting inside, knowing that John, was coming, and he beat up John. Now, I have lots of issues with that. I really do.
But how would he have even known that that he was coming?
Well, that he was coming. I don't even know that Colin knew that he had reported that to police officers
because nothing had been done about it.
Nothing had been done about it, because he was an Albert.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
He was the
nephew. Not only was Brian a police officer, he was a retired police officer at this point. Actually, I should say.
Yeah.
His brother was also a police officer, and his other brother, I want to say, he owned like a butcher's or something.
Yeah.
So there was. The three of them were very well known around Canton as being a police family.
Yeah.
And so there was other Alberts that had been charged with things, I think, in the past and had got away with them, and things had been done to sweep things under the rugs. So I do believe that was pretty much what was going to happen to Colin and was already in the process. So I don't know. Yeah. But
is it worth killing someone over? No.
The marks.
The dog bite theory.
Get into this.
It's my favourite. So the Albert family owned a German Shepherd by the name of Chloe.
Yeah.
And you can have a look again. The photos of this are online everywhere, but you can see photos of John's arm.
Yeah.
And the prosecution says that. Sorry, the defence says that the bite marks match that of a German Shepherd. How the fuck you'd know that, I don't know. And scratches. So they're like, this is consistent with scratches.
Interesting.
This is a consistent. Yeah, it doesn't look like someone's been hit by a car.
No, it doesn't. And to the point of like, and I have to. This is funny because I was actually watching that documentary, right? When one of my sons came downstairs.
Oh yeah.
And so I've paused the doco, and it's literally on his arm on the screen, right? And Mason, who is very into true crime, and I have to try and like not get him involved in things, but he wants to badly.
Yeah.
And he comes in and he goes, "Oh, what's this one?" You know, and I go, "Oh, this is a real juicy, weird story kind of thing." And I go, "What do you reckon caused those injuries?" Now he knows nothing of this case. You know, I said, "What do you reckon would have caused injuries like that?" And he goes, "Looks like he's been mauled by a bear."
Interesting.
And I thought that was a really interesting sort of like, and I went,
yeah,
I rate that that's potentially what it could look like.
Yeah.
But I don't know what tail light gashes could look like either.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. It's weird. The arm thing's weird. That throws up a bit of a thing for me.
It's the context of the dog that then makes it look sus.
I know. So the thing is as well, like when they did the autopsy, they have taken swabs of all of the injuries on his arm.
Yeah.
No canine DNA was found.
Pig DNA was found. Now, I can so the defense put to the pathologist that, well, pig DNA, as in like maybe from a dog treat, like a pig's ear, which
I mean, fair. Yeah.
And again, all they have to do is plant reasonable doubt.
That's right. And the pathologist was like, well, I can't exclude that.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know.
She did end up saying like, well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possible. It's possible. Yeah.
Interesting. But the thing is with the dog is that where is Chloe? Where is the dog?
Well, this is the thing. 7 days after this happened, they got rid of her.
And so that's where it's also, it's like one of these.
Why
things.
do that? Like,
Well,
it makes you look guilty.
I know, but their story, what they testify to, which is again. Oh my God!
Yeah.
So prior to this occurring, Chloe had injured somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Again, a few days after this, she injured someone else. She was in another fight with another dog and something. So they rehomed her. I say that because I feel like maybe they put her down.
I think they did.
But they're not saying that, which
No.
I don't know, because they're saying that they've rehomed her to a farm, which sounds so much like,
The farm in the sky.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
big farm in the sky.
onto a farm where they can run free. And
Yeah. I mean, look,
Yeah.
if your dog's attacked twice, like they should be put
They
down.
should, and so
I mean, I think that's
what they're
probably-
claiming has
Yeah,
occurred.
yeah.
And to be honest, I think that's probably what happened.
Yeah. But like, do you think what happened was like John was outside already and maybe Chloe's come outside and seen his arm and had a go at it? Like, it's possible. It's possible.
I have thought that.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think you'd then see more bite down and more clear marks.
Yeah, because this is more like scrapes.
It's scrapes.
That's true.
So
but what else would have caused it? I just don't. I
It's the
can't.
tail
I don't
light.
know.
The more I've looked at it, and the more I've like really gone way down. In this,
Okay.
the more I look at it, I can buy that it's tail light. And it's
But how? I
scratches
just
from
don't
that.
understand. Like, has
If
he
you-
fallen across the tail light and scratched
I
it?
think he's as
he's fallen
hit, he's
over.
fallen, and it's
They're
scratched.
significant scratches, though.
I think so.
Let us know what you think, people. I'm so curious
I
because
know.
this is the bit that for me just I can't.
I know I was fully into the
can't.
Chloe story, and I just now I'm like,
Yeah.
it doesn't all add up.
My thought
And to
was
be
that
honest, this
Chloe
is
might have
the
come
thing.
out and Wally
Yes.
was like unconscious, had a bit of a go. But then I see what you mean about that. The marks would have been different as if she was coming down on it.
Yeah.
But maybe she was like digging in the snow or something because he was buried. I don't know.
But then wouldn't there be dog hair somewhere or dog DNA somewhere, and it's not. And my thing with the other thing with like getting rid of Chloe the way they did, right? Like, why? Okay, even if she did do what we're suggesting that she did, right? Dog's not going to talk.
No.
Dog's not going to sit there and go, oh, yeah.
I mauled him to death.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So why do you need to get rid of the dog? Like, I genuinely think there's evidence that these events that happened with this dog, there is absolutely evidence of that.
So you think the fact that they got rid of the dog has nothing to do with this case?
I think it's just purely coincidence that that's what's occurred, and they've got rid of the dog.
All right. Next bit of evidence.
Well,
Reed's blood alcohol content.
Oh, well, yeah. Let's go there. Yep.
Let's go there.
Yeah, yep.
So we talked about this at the start of the episode that her blood alcohol content was problematic.
Yeah.
We know at least 8 drinks. She'd purchased 9. We don't know the strength of those drinks or what was necessarily in them. We know they were all spirit-based though.
Yeah.
So basically when she was arrested, they did a blood alcohol on her. Now this is, so she finished drinking somewhere around 12:30 in the morning.
Well, and that's the other thing. That's what we know of from video footage.
Yeah.
We don't know if she left John pissed as she was at him. Did she go home and have another drink?
We don't know.
We don't know.
But look, let's say she didn't, okay?
Yeah,
for all
even
arguments.
if she didn't, it's bad.
Even if she didn't, it's bad. Especially if she didn't,
actually,
it's bad.
To be honest,
Sorry. Especially if she didn't, it's bad.
Yeah.
She's then been arrested at what time was that? Like
in the morning.
In the morning, they did a BAC on her.
Do you want to? Because at the scene they were like, we need to get you blood alcohol.
So that was at like, but I think it was like 8-something a.m.
Yeah,
8:50 something a.m.
Yeah,
they've done a blood alcohol on her.
Yes,
and it came back as 0.13.
Yes.
Okay. What that means is so in Massachusetts, the legal drinking limit is 0.08.
Yes.
In Australia, for us, it's 0.05.
Yeah.
And so at 0.13, however many hours later, what's that, 7-8 hours later, that's significant.
It really is.
What the medical examiner estimates is that at the time that she allegedly hit John, her blood alcohol concentration would have been 0.29. Now, that's based on her weight, the number of hours she was drinking, how quickly she was drinking, blah, 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 blah.
Lots of factors
were put into it.
And it's very, estimate. It's not definitive.
And they say that it's not definitive. It is their best guess.
Yeah.
0.29. Fucking hell.
She should not have been driving.
She should not have been driving.
Oh,
Even at 0.13, she shouldn't have been driving.
God, no. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where, again, that element of this.
But then the defense says you can be drunk, but that doesn't make you a murderer. You can drive under the influence and that doesn't make you a murderer. Absolutely.
At the end of the day, do I believe she's a murderer? No. But I can absolutely come at a story of someone being that drunk or going, I'm fucking getting out of here and driving off.
Not having any idea.
No idea they hit anybody. Driving forward going, I'm fucking leaving this bastard here. He can go fuck himself.
Yeah, well, if you listen to her messages after, that's probably exactly what she was thinking.
What she was doing. That is a world where I go, yeah. That totally happened.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Allegedly. Oh, no,
well.
No.
Well.
She's acquitted.
She's acquitted. According to our theory.
Yeah, well. So the other thing we need to say here is the poor police work in general. Now, poor police work or not. Okay. So, the house. The defense very vehemently say that John did go into that house and that whatever occurred happened in that house. His body was then put outside the house. The house was never searched.
Never.
No one ever entered that house, the police officers. The most of someone entering that house was a police officer did go to the door, but he actually never went in.
Nope.
Now, there's an issue here slightly. To be able to enter that property and do that, you need to have probable cause. Now, they claim, this is the claim that the police have, is that they had no probable cause.
Fuck off. A man was found dead in your front yard. That's probable cause enough for me.
Well, according to their legal system, that is not enough because all of the evidence stuff was on the lawn.
But they didn't know that all of the evidence stuff was on the lawn. They didn't know that. They couldn't say that.
I don't agree with this at all. And to be honest, it did them no favours.
No.
Because if they had searched that house, they could have definitively said one way or the other
whether he was in there. Because
if I was that police officer who owned that house, I'd be like, please come in and see and hear and make
fingerprint
sure that
everything.
He never came in here because this is what they say. Like
Yeah.
Brian Albert, everyone else that was at that party vehemently, and again, this is where the conspiracy
Yeah.
comes into it. If they all say this, he did not come into
They
that
didn't
house.
see him. Oh, no, not even that. They said they didn't see him.
There's a group chat where, I want to say it's Higgins.
Yeah.
Says, which is someone
Brian,
I've spoken about
another
yet.
Brian.
Higgins. We haven't got to him yet.
No.
We'll get to him.
Yep.
So he puts in the group chat, I believe, and says, just tell them he never came in the house. And then Brian Alberts responds, exactly. Which some people take as them going, that's the conspiracy being started.
But you could take that either way.
Either way.
But
And
what
then
he's
going,
probably
we're
saying,
telling
but
the
he
truth.
never came. He never came
the
in.
house.
So, yeah.
So, because and if that's truth, he never came in that house, I would be like, please, I want you to come in and search the house. I want you to see that nothing was here. Because what it's allowed for is for the defense to claim it all went on in the house. It went on in the house. And we don't have evidence of it.
Because the police never went in and did their job properly. Yeah.
Now, the other thing then that layers with this, though, is what did they do after this? Like within months?
Oh, they sold their house.
Sold the house. Mm-hmm. Not only sold the house, ripped up the carpet, redid the basement, ripped up concrete and replaced concrete. Mm-hmm. Now, that information on its own makes me go, what the fuck? This is guilty as shit. Now, but if you add that, the property had been on the market for 12 months prior.
And they had also done other renovations to the house to get it ready to sell. They wanted to. That's right. It wasn't selling, so they wanted to sell it. They wanted to improve the things that the real estate agent had said. Yeah. So again, you can view this either way.
Yeah. So again, I'm like, all right, I have to cross that off my list.
Yeah,
and this is
that's
what I was doing.
That's a non-issue, I think. I think we can't put that.
I think, unfortunately, coincidence has again played a role here.
Yeah.
But if only they had searched that house.
See, because 100%, because I don't think John had ever been to their house before. So that means if they found fingerprints in there, they could 100% say that he was there that night.
Yep, absolutely.
But it was never looked at.
No.
I don't even think they fingerprinted the front door.
Because there was blood stains on it. They would have seen that there were blood stains on the carpet.
Totally.
So just if they had just fucking done that. But the police's stance on it is that they didn't have probable cause to go in and do that.
I call bullshit on that.
I just can't with that.
I call bullshit on that.
You've got a dead body on your lawn? Fucking probable cause.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that infuriates me. Shall we get to Brian Higgins, though?
Yeah, let's talk about Brian Higgins. Yeah.
Okay, so Brian Higgins is yet another police officer. Now, he and John knew each other slightly more than some of the others, I guess, but not that well.
They weren't friends, they were acquaintances.
They knew each other through work, and that was where it really was at.
Yep.
But definitely had been at the same parties and evenings similar to this night, and so had Karen. So over this period of time, Karen and Brian Higgins had spent time together in groups, and it had been a bit flirtatious between the two of them.
Just a bit.
Well, it gets worse.
Well, I guess initially, a bit of flirting going on.
So as we said, Karen and John's relationship was a bit rocky at this point, and there had been some stuff.
And also, John's niece, in the week prior to John's death, had overheard John and Karen having a conversation where John basically said to Karen, "I really feel like our relationship's taken its course."
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think they were both realizing that this wasn't maybe...
It's kind of done. Nothing major had actually happened, but it was kind of...
Karen lost her shit a fair bit, though.
Well, she had quite the temper on her.
Well, there was an incident where they'd been to Aruba with a group of friends again and a lot of drinking and all that stuff, which...
Whatever, that's fine.
But clearly when she gets drunk, she gets quite rowdy.
That's it.
So, obviously, again, drinking involved... She's come into a foyer of the hotel where John is talking to a friend of his that he hasn't seen in a while, but is within this group, and they leant in for the kiss. And it was apparently just a friendly, kiss on the cheek sort of situation. Karen has walked into this. What the fuck are you doing? Got off her tree. That John's cheating on her and all this. So
Yeah, but who was the guilty party in that?
Yeah, well...
Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, the Karen stuff with Ryan happened it was
later.
After that, because that was kind of her reaction to it still.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So they've returned from this trip where she's like, oh, you know, John wants to cheat on me and stuff. And so she has kind of like gone, I think, as you say, they both knew this relationship was kind of coming to its end.
Yeah.
But Karen decides to send a little flirtatious message to Brian Higgins. So the text messages have been released. I feel for Brian.
Oh, so do I. But then if you play with fire, you're going to get burnt.
So the defense have put him on the stand and questioned him at length on all of this. And so, his messages between the two of them get real flirtatious and like, it's, I don't know, it's so awkward.
It is awkward reading other people's sexy text messages.
And the way he goes, like, she's like, you know, oh, I've always thought you were hot.
Okay.
John, I thought John's a
gorgeous.
very attractive
He's
man.
so attractive.
And then you're like, what? Now you're going to like go for Higgins?
Yeah, Higgins and he's older and he's just like, John is a lovely looking man.
His eyes.
Oh, he's got had beautiful eyes. Yeah, anyway, sorry, keep going.
So, she's like messaging me, oh, you know, I've always thought you're hot. And he's like, oh, no, I've always thought you were hot.
It's like a real high school
real
shit.
Awkward. Anyway, lengthy text messages back and forth. This is sort of like the week prior to this occurring.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of something there. Like, but the weird. This is where the phone shit comes into it.
Yeah.
Higgins does this bizarre thing with his phone, and his response to this is also very odd.
Yeah.
And this is where I just say they've just done themselves absolutely no favors. So when this occurs, Higgins decides to break his SIM and take his phone and destroy them and throw them out at a military base in two separate dumpsters. What? Why would you do that? What is on that phone that you're trying to hide? And his response to this at the time was, you know, that he was due to get a new phone and he was just getting rid of it, right?
Which makes zero sense.
Makes zero sense. But then to boot, the defense question him and say, but why would you put it in a dumpster in a military base? Like, and his response was, I have every right to do that. What?
I mean, we're not saying you didn't have the right. We want to know why.
Why would you choose to do it that way?
Yeah.
I have every right to do that. What? It's so weird.
It's so weird.
And he's not the only person in this who destroys his phone and gets rid of it. So there's so much that we miss in terms of data or whatever of people's actions.
But what do you think? Like, I don't think he was involved in anything.
This is the thing. They're claiming that maybe he was because get rid of John and he can have Karen. I don't know. They were the defense were claiming that he was involved.
Where's the evidence to support that, though? There isn't really any. Or are they saying that the text messages are... So what do you think? He sent Karen a text message saying, oh, make sure you run John over during the blizzard. Yeah. Maybe you can get away with it? Like,
no, he's saying that they're insinuating that he was part of the beating him up and putting out the law.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, which
didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
No.
But they're claiming that the text messages are evidence as to why he would have motive to do that.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah. But then the prosecution used those text messages as evidence as to why Karen would intentionally hit him and kill him because she's over the relationship and pissed with him.
But the thing is...
And wants to move on to Higgins.
She can walk away. She's got her own home. She's got her own car. She's got her own everything. If she didn't want to be with John, she didn't have to be with John.
No. So I don't really buy that. I don't buy that. Stuff.
No.
I believe the drunken action that...
Yeah. What about Proctor? We haven't kind of gotten into what happened with him because that is... Oh, fucking hell. Like, honestly...
Proctor is a piece of shit.
He's a total piece of shit.
Yeah.
So he was removed from the case.
Nope.
No, he wasn't.
He was the lead.
Yeah, he was the lead in until the first trial.
He was fired. When was he fired? In 2024. So he was still on the force for a long time after this. He was fired in the March of 2024, so just prior to the second trial.
Yeah.
He was fired, but not. I think in general with his behaviour. So he was on this case through the investigation of this entirety. Mm-hmm. So the evidence of what he has done is there's group messages, there's people he's spoken to. His language around Karen
disgusting,
is just gross. He calls her all sorts of things. So he's not
he's not unbiased.
Unbiased. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about, like, literally there's video footage from a body cam of him arriving at Karen's house to arrest her, which they go around the back of her house to go to get to a door where they go in. And as they're walking around there, on this body cam footage of this other police officer, you hear Proctor turn to his colleague and say, "Oh, she's a fucking bitch." And like, this is very early on in this investigation. You have no idea of what's going on here. And he is already speaking incredibly demeaningly of her.
There are so many texts, like, to his colleagues saying the most derogatory things about Karen.
Yeah.
And, like, it's disgusting. It's the
So
way
gross.
he talks about her is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
So once this is all found out, there is an investigation, put in place to sort of figure out exactly what's going on. He was stood down from this case. And then he ended up leaving the police force for a while. He was suspended for 12 months or something.
He was suspended to begin with, but he was definitely fired at
the end.
Yeah, March 2024, he was fired.
Well, fucking good work.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
regardless of anything, you can't
You can't do a job
you
as
need to be
investigator if you're-
unbiased, regardless of who the subject is.
Yeah, whether she's got an arse or not doesn't matter. Whether that doesn't mean she did it or not.
That's right. He commented on her physical appearance. He was just gross.
He was really
So
repulsive.
gross.
Cannot with him.
Yeah.
And so, and his whole demeanor is really off. But that's where, like, the police have not. Something needs to be, I think, really further looked into in terms of, in general, the culture, everything around the police in that area. And this is not unknown at all. This is something that's very, very well known in that Boston police can be a bit corrupt in that area. Because, I mean, there's full fucking movies about it. I mean, was it The Departed? Is that The Departed?
Yeah.
That is such a good movie. Watch that movie. Oh, actually, I'm going to go home and watch it. So it's so many great actors in that movie. But it's all about the fact of, like, this kind of area, the corrupt cops of what this area can bring. And these cops very much fit that stereotype of what can happen. And that's where I think it was very easy for the defence to come in and pick apart this, this case to a point of going, this is a corrupt cops issue.
Yeah.
Because
there's
prior.
And kind of there is. Like, you can see, I mean, I'm not saying there's hard evidence to show anything in particular, but you can see where things haven't been done right because they probably just thought, it'll be fine, we'll get around this. Or, the fact they didn't go into the house because it's a police officer's house, like, that's not okay.
But it was a police officer who died too.
Yeah, that's it.
So there's, like, this real weird juxtaposition of, like, we have to get someone for this because it was a police officer.
Yes, I get that. But I also feel like John wasn't part of that pack.
Yeah,
I feel like he was like a little bit on the outer, and they were all sticking together and of themselves, but John was a bit distant.
And again,
to that.
that's where I think they've almost done themselves a disservice in that fact of, like, where their stories align a little too much, because I think they do the whole, I'm not lying about my friend who's the cop, like, I'm a cop, he's a cop, my brother's a cop, my sister-in-law's husband's a cop. Like, I think that they have that circle have gotten so freaking tight on this that it actually makes them look like a conspiracy.
Yep, I agree.
When it's not.
I agree.
I that's really, I think, really done it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, when this went to trial for the first time, I think we've mentioned that, it was a hung jury. So the jury deliberated the first time. It was for quite a few days. They then said to the judge that they couldn't reach a verdict. The judge said they needed to try and deliberate a little bit longer.
Yeah.
They've done that. They were still unable to reach a verdict. And it was apparently, according to the jury foreperson, the divide was staunch and strong, and they were never going to be able to come to a unanimous decision.
The other element of that with that first trial and the jury that this is where I feel like the judge was shit.
Yep.
Was what they were given to mark down their outcome. And I do fully agree with the defence on this. This does not seem right.
No.
They were given a piece of a card or whatever that they had to mark on whether she was guilty of the certain charges And if they believe she was not guilty, they were just to not mark anything.
Mm.
So that's where I think this got really grey. And I believe the jury were confused by it too, because they kept coming back with questions.
I was going to say they did come back with questions about it.
The defence kept saying, it's because of the card. Mm-hmm. What you've given them to mark isn't what I've ever dealt with before.
Yeah.
It's not clear enough. And the judge really kept going, oh, this is what we do here, just because he was not from the area.
No, he was from LA.
So she was and she kept really...
she didn't like that.
Not like that at all.
She did not like it.
So she was like, we don't do it like that here.
Look, I feel like they could have gone for a mistrial anyway based on the bias towards the prosecution by the judge, because she was...
Yeah.
Oh,
there was a fair bit of that.
Yes, so
both,
much of that.
Both trials. I felt for, it was bad.
I agree.
Yeah, she was shit. But that particularly, that one look, there's lots of other, there's lots of things she let in, as we said earlier, that shouldn't have been as well from the defence. So a little both ways. But this particularly, the way she conducted the jury, I feel was very biased. The
agreed.
fact that handing back a card with no mark on it,
means anyone could mark anything.
Anyone could either mark anything, or she could say, oh, it's a mistrial because when actually, in fact, no, it's not guilty, but you just didn't tell us where to mark, how to do that.
Agreed.
So it could be misinterpreted. And that's what the defence was saying too. This is not clear enough. So
anyway, it ended in a mistrial, and so they had to have the second trial, which I remember the media around that was just, it blew up. Like it was already big, and then, the Karen Reid retrial, bloody hell, that just blew up.
Yes.
But basically the end of that was that she was found not guilty of the charge of
second-degree murder and manslaughter.
But she was convicted of operating under the influence of operating a motor vehicle under the influence.
Yeah.
And she was sentenced to 12 months probation.
Yeah, so again, this one I find a little bit interesting in terms of just that. Now, as we said, what her blood alcohol limit, we don't know specifically. We're basing it on science sort of stuff, that potentially around 0.29, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the way they work their system of this, so that what she got convicted of and what the sentence was, is what anyone would get on their first offence of driving.
Was her first
it was her first offence of driving over 0.08. Now, there's a big difference to me of driving at 0.09, right, and driving at 0.29.
But I think her defence argued though in that they can't say for sure that's what it was, because she also said, and so I think they ended up sentencing her based on the 0.13, because that was the only hard evidence they had.
Right.
And there was no solid evidence there. So I think that's why that ended up. Right. So I can kind of come at 12 months probation for a 0.13. I hard agree with you at a 0.29. I feel like she should have been incarcerated.
There's between 0.08 and point something else. There's this
and then there's this and then this.
There's brackets. Yeah. Whereas this felt like the way it's worded. If you're 0.08, if you're
or 0.29
or 0.5, literally you get the same.
You did, but
but you'd get the same offence, and I'm like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, no, I think that's what it was.
Okay, I can come at that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, because all she's ended up with is that, and so there's no jail time with that. She's just probationary license, not even loss of license, probation.
Mm-hmm.
So because the other thing we didn't, and I don't like to bring him back again, but I'm just
fucking turtle boy
again.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, go for it.
So in this, because we're talking about 2 trials here.
Yeah.
And obviously with that conviction, there is a fine with it, not a big one, but you have to say, I mean, these aren't cheap lawyers. So she's gone through one trial and then a second trial. At no point, and this is particularly, I actually found this in the documentary because the documentary ends at the end of the first trial.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing her reaction to the fact that they've got a retrial, and she's sitting in the car and talking about the fact, we've got to do this again, and and I'm like, I know in my personal situation, I would be like, oh my God, I've got to go through this again. And not only have I got to go through this again mentally, but how am I going to afford to pay you guys? I can't keep you guys here. I can't even afford what I'm paying you now. Like, that would be an element of this that would be a really, real high concern. It wasn't for Karen. Turtle Boy raised hundreds of thousands of dollars.
No, it was into the millions.
It was into millions?
Yep.
It got to there?
Yep.
So she didn't have to worry about that.
She still did, because at the end of the day, I think all told, she ended up spending about $5 million on her lawyers.
Boy.
Yep.
Where'd all that money come from?
Well, I think her parents helped. I think there was sale of assets and all of that sort of stuff. And then I think her lawyers actually gave her some
they've
allowances
because they've publicity.
Absolutely. So I think all told, she was kind of able to mostly come up with it.
I think a lot of it came from raised money.
A very, very significant portion came from this crowdfunding.
Yeah.
But then I was reading in terms of the cost of this, just the security for the second trial cost Massachusetts State $250,000 US. Just the security for the trial.
Well, because the people at the front of these trials, there was the blue crowd, which were all for the cops and all for like getting someone for they were all like justice for John O'Keefe.
Yep.
And then there was the pink side.
Yep.
And there was the flood of people.
Do you think it's so funny how in the documentary they were like, oh, why is pink your favorite color? And she's like, oh, I would never wear pink, but I suppose it's my favorite color, so they just ran with it.
I actually don't like it.
I can't stand her. I actually can't stand her. That was my next question for you, actually.
Yeah.
What do you think about her personally?
She's not someone I'd be
friends with. No way. There's nothing genuine about her. I think she's nasty. I think, I don't know, that she's just not a likable person.
No, I don't think she is, to be honest. I see her as being...
she's very self-centered.
Yes, that's the element of her that I'm like, and that's where I kind of go, but you were, good with the kids, and people do say that about her. And I but whereas she comes across really cold, like in the documentary as well, and in general, and people said that about her when she's in and I don't want to judge her on how she is in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Because I cannot imagine as an innocent person having to know that like people are saying things that you don't agree with, whether you're guilty or innocent, like going, I'd get really flustered of like people saying things that isn't true and things I can get like you have to sit there and just try and keep straight-faced and stoic and like, people didn't like her turning around and talking to her parents. I'm sorry, I'd be like turning them 20,000 times in a day going, I need support here, like looking for support.
Yeah,
like
just looking for a friendly
I wouldn't want to be judged for how I behave in that environment.
But you do see in that documentary the difference. Yes. And I found that, kind of grated me a little bit.
Who she was as
in
a
front
person,
of the
front
jury.
Of the camera, and then like as she would speak to the camera, I just found her as someone who wasn't overly likable.
She's not likable. She's not likable at all.
At one point, she talks about the fact of like that she grieved John, and now she's got a job to do because I've got to fight for my life. Mm-hmm. And there's an element of it that I can come at.
Yep.
But I could not think of a way of decompartmentalizing where when you're going over all this in a court case, where there wouldn't be moments that would be hard.
Oh.
And that would break you.
Oh, for sure.
But then
there's also that scene in the documentary where her lawyer basically said to her, you can't react to anything because if you react in one way, it's interpreted this way. If you react in another way, it'll be interpreted like this. You literally cannot react. So I don't know how you would do it.
But I don't know how you do that. I think you could take that on and be like, I will do my absolute best. But I'm sorry, but hearing things about John, about what happened to him and how he was exposed to the cold and what that would have done to him, the injuries and how that would have... I think we're getting down to that side of things.
Yeah.
I don't think you could sit there and not feel something.
I even feel like because in the first trial, the niece and nephew gave testimony. In the second trial, it was just the niece.
Right.
I think even hearing them talk, because even just feeling how awful those poor kids, I mean, we haven't even touched on that. They've lost their mum and dad and now their uncle who was like their dad. Oh. Those poor bloody kids. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, they're young teenagers, or one's in their early 20s now, but I can't even imagine those poor children.
No, not at all. It actually, and if that can't get you, even though you're saying, okay, I've got to fight for my life now,
but at the end of the day, you're human. That's going to get you.
Surely.
Yeah.
You had a relationship with those kids for 2 years. Like, I found that a bit.
Yeah, that's off.
So something that came up more so in the second trial than the first was the location data and stuff.
Oh, yes.
Which I just wanted to touch on as well.
Yeah, go for it.
Because there's a lot in that the prosecution used, and one element was that his phone showed that he had never been indoors.
Yep.
Now, there is data in your phone that you can do that, and it's based on temperature.
Yeah.
And obviously the temperatures where at this point there would be a significant change.
And as we were saying, that's right. The difference between outside in a blizzard and inside in a warm home, it would have been massive.
Yeah.
Today, our temperature inside would probably be very similar.
It'd be very
to
similar. It wouldn't be. But in these conditions, I feel like that is a very reliable.
I fully agree.
Data.
Yep.
Compared to what the defence used that data for, which they talked a lot about him having logged 80 steps after supposedly he exited the car.
Yes.
Going up 3 flights of stairs. There was all that sort of data that there was. But I just have to say, how accurate is your phone on that stuff?
It's not very. I can actually give a bit of a tidbit. So when we were in South Korea, your phone tracks, obviously. So my friend was wearing a watch, right? And at the end of the day, I was just looking at my phone and I was like, I wonder how many steps or how far we've walked today, right? And mine said, say it was like 18,000, something like that. My girlfriend who was wearing her watch, hers said we'd done 35,000 steps.
Well, I mean, okay. Part of me goes, some people have more steps than someone else in
different
one.
gate, fair. Right? That's fine.
But
not that different. So I'm like, well, my phone obviously had no idea.
I often
we'll
go to say the zoo for the day with my kids, and it's similar. And I always go I would do half as many steps as they would because one, my steps are bigger than their steps, but also they walk in a
they don't walk straight. They're here, they're everywhere. Yeah,
they're running around like at lunchtime whilst I'm sitting having coffee.
That's
those sorts of things. But so there's definitely not. They're not. Each phone is different with that stuff. Not only that,
I don't think it's reliable data, is what we're saying.
I've had I knew that my I'd left my AirPods at home one day, but I was like, I want to just check, right? So I got on and I checked where they were. It said that they were in my next door neighbour's house.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, that's close enough here that I have left them at home. I'm comfortable with that. My neighbour has not stolen my AirPods.
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Yeah. So whereas they use this data down to that point of saying this is where he was located and stuff. And the 80 steps and things like that. Him moving being pushed back by the car could potentially equate to a phone
steps.
Going, that's 80 steps.
Yeah. But the other thing is as well, the 3 flights of stairs. There was there were stairs up to the front door, but he would regardless, he would have gone up the stairs if he even did, and then back down the stairs again.
No, what the defence say is that it's actually the steps are, because it's not necessarily just up. It just says going up or down flights of stairs. It calculates.
Yeah, but
so what they say
is 3 flights. What do they
go
say?
Up into the front door.
Yeah.
Down into the basement.
Oh, okay.
And then him coming back up to be put on the lawn.
Okay.
That's what they say. Because they reckon they have they map this out entirely.
Okay.
They reckoned it was up the front stairs, down the basement, up the basement, and then they went out the back where there's no more stairs.
Yeah, and carried him around the front,
the side gate there, and dumped him on the lawn.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's how they equate the 3 flights of stairs. But I reckon I've had days where I've looked at my data on my phone and I'm done the whole oh my God, I feel like I've walked a million miles but done no stairs. And it'll say I've done 10 flights of stairs.
Yes. No.
And I haven't. I've walked on a flat zoo or whatever for the day,
Yep.
Yeah. So
I think again, what we're saying, unreliable data, we don't believe it. You can't hang a fucking murder case on this. Hinge a murder case on this.
And that's where I was saying at the beginning about how I think we have too much data being brought into this and stuff, and too much information sometimes.
But see, this is where the judge should be like, no, you're not tendering that as evidence because it's not sound.
This is it, because they just bring they each bring in their own experts and they cancel each other out.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, which one am I supposed to believe? And it becomes too messy.
And that's exactly what happened in this case. Yeah. I can totally understand why the jury in the second trial acquitted her.
Yes, and that's what I was going to come to this too. Yes, I actually, as much as I've said today, I believe she did hit him. I believe she hit him with the car and she has fault here. However, I 100% believe, due to the fact that the defence were very good at their job, they have planted reasonable doubt, and therefore she should have been acquitted.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I do agree with that.
Yeah.
The outcome was what it was, purely based on very good defence.
The theatrics of the court.
They have found and ultimately, this falls back on the poor police work. If the police had done their job properly and the get-go, if these people weren't all police officers particularly manipulating some aspects of this, then the defence wouldn't have been able to pick apart so much.
I fully agree.
Then we wouldn't have this issue.
Yeah, and it would have been a more fair trial.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And again, as we spoke about at the beginning, I 100% believe that if from the get-go this was, we think that you've hit him with the car, we don't think you've done it purposefully, we do think that this is what's caused his death, you do need to cop something for this. That's that. It would have been gone and done.
It's vehicular manslaughter then?
Yeah.
If you're driving under the influence and you kill someone, it's not intentional, but you've still done the wrong
you've
thing.
Left the scene
and
without
but did she even know?
This is it. Did she know or not? And that's a question, I guess. And I don't know whether, she would have potentially in that situation, you'd plea your way to a deal of sorts, right? Of like whether what you were willing to admit to and what you would go with.
Yeah.
But because I think he was a cop, there was an element of someone's got to go down for it because it's a cop who's been killed. He was not on duty, and I don't think that should change anyone's take on like whether or not someone needs to be, held accountable. But he wasn't on duty. It wasn't in the line of fire that he was killed. So I don't know that the police should have gone so hard down on that of like, nah, let's get her entirely for like, nah, she intentionally did this. No, this was she murdered him. That's where I think this has gone completely too far.
Too far. Yeah. I agree. I actually agree with all of what you're saying. I think although I'm pretty sure she did it and didn't know she'd done it.
Yeah, I do. Maybe, and that's where I think there's that. She's going, oh my God, did I hit him?
Yeah.
Because she doesn't remember.
She doesn't know. She even says to Jen the next morning, like, I don't even remember what happened last night.
I think she's kind of gone.
And if you're 0.29, of course you don't fucking remember. You'd black out. Like, I'm sure there'd be blank spots all throughout the night.
Yeah.
With a
that, or I can also
that.
come at a slight, where she's so drunk, she knew she hit him, didn't know how hard, and went, oh, no, I'm buggy out. No, you can stuff yourself, I'm going. Like, and she's that cross and she's driven off. And in hindsight has gone, how hard did I actually hit him? Did he get back up? I didn't even look. Like, I can come at that too, and that's more culpable.
Yeah.
But still, it comes back to that, how drunk you were and driving, and you should not have been fucking driving that car.
No.
And drinking.
Nope.
Go get drunk. Get a fucking
by
cab.
all means. Get a taxi.
Yeah.
Get an Uber.
Yeah.
Drink at home so you don't have to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
No, I cannot come at drink driving regardless,
No.
even if it's just no. It's a hard no.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Definitely. You're not risking. It's not about you. Do you know what? If you're going to drink and drive and it's you that gets, injured, killed, whatever, fucking on you. It's about everyone else on that road that you're putting them in danger when they did nothing to be involved in that.
For sure.
That's what I cannot. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. I think that kind of brings us to a little bit of a natural end here.
Yeah, like,
I mean, look, to be honest, I think we could probably talk around this for days. And there is so much more evidence that was actually introduced that, we could talk about, but there's lots of little things. And as you were saying before, all of the things are then counteracted. So they kind of end up being moot points anyway.
Yeah.
I would, and I'm sure you feel the same way, we would love to know what everyone thinks.
I feel like in this, when I was researching this, came at it from so much of the down for the conspiracy, here for it. I really think these people are pieces of shit, all of them in it. And then to have flipped by the end of this, I'm like, people are going to be so angry with me.
Nobody's going to be angry with you.
Yeah, they will.
No, we're all entitled to our own opinions.
Yeah.
And as long as
bring it in the comments.
Let us know. Be respectful, but let us know. We're super interested to know what you think.
Yeah, because everyone is very, fixed on this, and everyone has very strong opinions. Generally speaking, it's that she's innocent, and
Yeah, I'm with you. Look, I still find it hard to say, yes, I definitely think this happened because...
because everyone was drunk.
Everyone was drunk. Exactly. That's it. So it's really hard to say. But anyway, please let us know what you think. Join us over on Patreon if you want a bonus episode every month. So you can join us at patreon.com/2crimebesties, all written out in one word. Next week, we are talking about the killer cult and especially the death of a young girl by the name of Elizabeth Stews. Is that how you say her surname? Yep. Sorry if it's not. I'll figure out the right pronunciation during the week. Thanks to everybody who has bought us a coffee, joined us over on Patreon, likes and comments. All of it really, really helps us, and it is so very much appreciated by us. We just really feel like we're really building our community at the minute, and it's really fun. Really fun for us.
Crazy. Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it? All right. Well, I hope everybody has a great week.
Yes, absolutely. Stay curious, crime besties.
Bye.